game of basketball has taken us places we can never imagine. From winning 4 EuroLeague titles,
playing 6 years in 5 countries,
and making connections with people from all around the world.
we have stories that can last a lifetime. Now it's time to tell yours.
When I met Michael Jordan for the first time, and still to this day, if I see him, he's glowing.
It just came down to, like I said, looking myself in the mirror like, brother, do you want to play ball or not?
I've never been in an environment like EuroLeague.
Because, living over here in Europe, bro, we kings over this jump, bro.
Right.
Denver Nuggets.
Appreciate y'all having us on here.
Yes, sir, man. Big time. This is really dope.
This is Hoop Tales. Welcome back to the Hoop Tales podcast. Today we have hands down one of the best guards in European basketball, a French league champion, a Ukrainian Super League champion, a German league champion, First Team All Euro Cup, First Team All EuroLeague, and a Finals MVP. His resume speaks for itself. My guy, repping Baltimore, Maryland, Malcom Delaney. Malcom, what's up, bro?
What up, bro?
First off, man, we just kind of talking about it a little bit. Kind of talk about, the situation with COVID-19 and, how it's affecting you. And then also, kind of how, how you trying to stay in shape and how you trying to stay busy. I know you just got the new house. So I'm sure you got a lot of different things you kind of doing around the crib. But, first of all, talk about that.
Yeah. So, when we first heard about it, I think I know I can speak specifically on Barcelona. Like, everybody was pretty much misinformed about it. So,
yeah, definitely.
It went from literally everything happened in like 2 or 3 days. And I remember we played y'all and I was talking about it.
Yeah.
And I told Mike, I said, yo, there's a lot going on, with the team. I'm like, bro, this could be something, that put a halt to a season. And literally like 3-4 days later, we had a team meeting and they pushed the games back, I think, 2 weeks. But just doing research on everything, like I knew it was going to be, a long time looking at China, the basketball in China. I figured that it would take a while. So I literally was the only person asking questions about long-term stuff. Everybody else was talking 2 weeks. The team was telling us, stay in the house for 4 days and we'll see if anybody got it. Like, they had no clue about nothing going on. So I didn't really trust it from the start. So I had already planned on leaving. Like, once we heard about it, I seen what happened in China. I was like, look, I'm the only person over here single. I don't have my family over here. Luckily, this happened around my birthday. So my chef was there and I had, a couple people there for my birthday. But I had some other people that were from Peru and they had a state of emergency before all of us.
Yeah.
So they had to get back to their country or they would have been stuck in Barcelona for 90 days. So they had to leave. And then with me and Chef, we waited it out about 8 to 10 days. And then once the U.S. issued that level 4 that travel advisory about, all Americans need to get back home, like once that got real, I called the team, asked them, was it possible that I could leave? They told me if everybody on the team agreed to it, that it was fine because of my situation, being by myself. And then they basically reneged on that. So they came back and said, all right, well, if we let you go, then maybe Nico might want to go, Corey. I was like, look, bro, they have their families. I'm in a different situation. So, whatever they want to do is on them. But I'm speaking for myself at this point, for my sanity and for my health. So they basically reneged on it. And, once that came out, I told them, like, I'm going to have to make a tough decision. I'm going home. So either we agree to something or not, because I can go home and work out. I got a basketball court at my house. I'm building my gym now. So, I had access to different stuff. I could actually go outside. Like in Barcelona, we couldn't leave the apartment. So I'm like, would y'all rather me stay here for 2 months by myself or go home, and stay in shape? So that whole situation happened. And, Barcelona had to kind of cover for themselves. So they, did a story in the media about, it said I demanded my passport and all type of shit. But in reality, bro, like, I went and got my passport from the locker room with nobody in it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't keep our passports, bro. Like, it was in the locker room, and I went and got it. So, you know what I'm saying? It made a big story about it. And, you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, that was, you know, one of the reasons why I decided to do what I did. But yeah, that Corona thing, I just been home. Like you said, I have my trainer here, so he comes to the house, doing a lot of work on my body. I had a couple small injuries that I had to, you know, attend to. And then my basketball trainer's here this week, so we've been getting up a lot of shots and stuff. But, you know, ever since, you know, I decided not to go back, I kind of toned it down on the basketball side and focus more on my body. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, so I kind of did the similar. Like, I honestly, because I'm from a small town, so, like, we only got, like, a few gyms, but all the gyms closed. So, like, literally, like, all I've really been doing just, like, just been, like, running and then, like, literally just, like, working on little things like my body and stuff like that. Because it's, like, it's really nothing else you really could do.
Yeah, you can't do too much. And Atlanta was one of the first places to open up. So we had access to a couple gyms, but it's, like, driving 45, 50 minutes, you know, to get in the gym, which is cool, but it gets old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I can just go out back. You know what I'm saying? The weather's been nice. I can get my shots up. But like I said, it's more mental, man, and just focusing on my body at this point.
We can go right into talking about the beginning, man. Talk about growing up in Baltimore, man. Like, what your childhood was like.
I grew up with both my parents. I got an older brother, 4 years older than me. So I kind of was born into sports. Like, my father hooped. You know, my mother played volleyball. And so I grew up, my father was a big Jordan fan. So, like, everything in the house, from what I remember, was like, that was the first thing I seen, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's whether it was the shoes, my father had all the DVDs, it's videotape, the DHS videotape, cassette tapes, Jordan IMAX, he had statues, he collected the cards, like, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of grew up right into it. My brother played basketball and football, and I started playing football first.
Mm-hmm.
So football was actually my favorite sport. But as far as the sports, like I said, bro, I fell in love with it early. And then when I was younger, it was kind of like that AI wave. Like, you know, Jordan was out, and Iverson kind of, you know, when I was in like second and third grade, Iverson was the guy. So, you know, that's the player who made me start wearing braids, like headbands. Like, I've been wearing headbands since like third grade. You know what I'm saying? Like, that started out with AI. So, you know, so I grew up in the city. You know, my neighborhood was bad, but people respected my family so much that they kind of kept me away from everything. You know, I grew up with a lot of everybody was older than me. My brother was 4 years, so everybody I hung around was his age.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I had a couple friends, you know, that I played sports with. But as far as my neighborhood, it was a lot of older guys. And like I said, they respected my family so much that, you know what I'm saying, I never sold drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody in my family. I was around it. My friends did it. You know, it's kind of like that lifestyle in Baltimore City, but it was more for survival. And no matter what my friends did or what people around me did, they made sure, like, if they seen me even pick a drug up, they would have looked at me crazy. So,
yeah,
you know, that kind of set the tone early. And that's kind of why my path went the way it did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was kind of disciplined because I had the right people around me. You know, as far as my family, they took care of everything I needed to. Wasn't rich, but, you know what I'm saying, they made it happen. And then sports was my outlet to everything. You know, I played baseball, football, and basketball, so I was always busy.
Mm-hmm.
It was either school, you know, me being outside, either hooping, playing football, or going to practice. So, you know what I'm saying, growing up, that kind of kept me on the right path. You know, like I said, I got into like collecting shoes when I was younger, and they used to bribe me, like, you know what I'm saying, I had to do good in school or whatever to get the new Jordans. So that was another thing, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to have the Jordans. So school was my focus, you know what I'm saying?
So I had incentive.
Yeah, that they gave me that incentive for the Jordans. So my parents were tricky but strategic with it. And you know what I'm saying, looking back at it, You know what I'm saying? They probably couldn't really afford everything they was getting me, but I think it paid off because they invested, you know, like I said, that strategy they did, that investment helped out over time. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, you know what I'm saying, they couldn't afford it, but back then it felt like, you know what I'm saying, I was getting everything I wanted. So, you know what I'm saying, it didn't matter. But yeah, bro, I think the incentives to different things, you know, kind of helped me out a lot. But you know, so I was never in the streets. I was outside all the time. Like I said, I was around everything. I seen everything going on, but I wouldn't say dumb because, like I said, people are products of their environment. But, you know what I'm saying? I could have been one or two decisions away from, you know, getting locked up, you know what I'm saying, maybe getting killed. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've been in so many situations, but my mindset was always, you know what I'm saying, if I do this, what's going to happen with my career, even when I was young. So, sports saved me, bro. Like, when people say that, like, it legitimately saved me. So, you know what I'm saying, I appreciate everything that sports has brought to my world.
Talk about, you know, going into high school and your relationship with Danny Green. I know family means
Donté Green.
I'm sorry. I said Danny. Your relationship with Donté Green. You know, just the FOE movement. You know, when did that come about? You know, family obviously means everything to you.
Yes.
Talk about that.
All right, so I met Tay. It's crazy, bro. So me and Donté played against each other. Because he started playing late.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he would play in, like, small leagues, but he never played, like, on the circuit or anything. So when we were in the 8th grade is the first time I ever seen him play. He was already, like, 6'7". So he just was like
That's crazy.
He was just that big goofy dude. You know, like, in Baltimore, we just got guards. We don't never have big. So when somebody comes 6'7", 6'8", everybody, you know what I'm saying, he get the attention. But he wasn't good. But so 8th grade, we played against him, AAU, and then that next year, we was going into high school. He was like, our coach was like, look, we're gonna bring Donté in. And anybody like from Baltimore, we got the toughest coach, like, and you can compare him to like a Serbian.
Yeah.
So, bro, our coach used to make us do push-ups on the court, like mid-game. Like, you turn the ball over, bro, it's 5 on the floor, somebody down there doing push-ups. So
wow.
Everybody was scared to play for him, bro. Like, and before I went to that team, I used to laugh because, you know what I'm saying, all of us played AAU together, but, you know, in recreation basketball, we was on rivals. We was rivals with the team. So we used to laugh at them like, bro, y'all doing push-ups, like, mid-game, and then I ended up playing with them. So when he said he was going to bring Tay in, bro, we used to have practices, like, literally, we always practiced. We had an age group two years up from us. Mm-hmm. So we always practiced against them. We played, it was no fouls, no out of bounds, literally no rules, bro. So we had to always play basically up. We practiced against, 16, 17-year-olds with no fouls. So we used to really go at it. So when Tay came, you know what I'm saying, he was coming right into the fire. And ultimately that's what, what made him get better, because he wasn't tough at all, but getting beat up every day. Once we started playing, bro, it was so easy. So with Tay, he came in the first year, was our freshman year. I think that summer was 15 under AAU. We made it to the Final Four, and we lost to D Rose. In the Final Four, we ended up placing third in nationals. And then that following summer after that, once we went Final Four, then that's when everybody started coming around. Nike, Melo finally started his program. So, we was under Team Melo. And, that's when it kind of took off, because Tay played JV his freshman year of high school, but I played varsity. And, he just started to develop, man. Like, he was 6'9". We used to ISO everybody, bro. We made everybody play man-to-man. So, literally, we would go full corners with Tay with the ball. If they had a big man on him, like, we would go full corners and ISO. We used to just ISO. So everybody used to come back to play. Yeah, but we had 4 guards and Tay. And he basically turned into a guard. So, just as the years went on, bro, we got closer. And it was always kind of competition in our city. It was like, who better, Malcom or Donté? And once, you know, all the hype started coming, you know, Tay was bigger. So, of course, you know, everything gravitated towards him. But, you know what I'm saying, my numbers was always better. So people always wanted to put us against each other, even though we played together, went to the same school, like we was best friends. You know, it was people on both sides, like, oh, he's getting this, you get more numbers, but he's bigger than you. You know what I'm saying? People on Tay's side, Malcolm's trying to do this. So they tried to make like a rivalry with us inside of our team. But, you know, like ultimately, you know, we stuck with it, man. And, you know, seeing him, he committed to Syracuse first. We wanted to go to the same school. Syracuse didn't offer me. He committed to Syracuse because of Melo. You know, Melo went to the same high school we went to before. He went to Oak Hill. And, like, Melo was everybody's idol when we were in high school. So Tay that was like Melo's guy. So he went to Syracuse. I waited around, committed to Virginia Tech. And then our senior year, everything kind of was set in stone, man. We just wanted to win. We ended up winning our leagues together. You know, both of us going off to school. He got drafted, but, you know, I'm his kid's godfather.
That's great.
You know, so that's my guy, man. Like that's one of my best friends.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a chance to know Tay a good amount. You know, especially because I mean he got drafted with one of my homeboys, Jason Thompson, and then just as us knowing each other and being around each other, you know, it's just been, like I said, he's like one of the most humble, funniest dudes like ever, man. Like he always joking, always got like something to like crack jokes about. But it's crazy because you said like he's 6'10", so it's like you see this like kind of like tall dude.
Tay used to be in talent shows. Like we was in high school, bro, because he think he can sing and dance, bro. Like imagine him, bro, like 6'10" in a talent show, like legit singing, bro. Him and I don't know if you know Kim English.
Yeah.
Him and Kimmy, bro. Like they used to be in talent shows singing together, bro. Like, and it was funny, bro, because like I mean, like you said, you know Tay, so you know like he always on some funny time, but like they used to legitimately be in talent shows, bro. Like
I can't imagine that, bro.
But nah, that's Tay, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? One of the most talented guys I've ever been around. You know, I think when he did go to SAC, it wasn't the right situation for him because you know, they had so many coaches. Like he was having too much fun in the league, and you know what I'm saying, Sacramento didn't want to win, so he didn't have that staff to really, you know, lock him in. And then they, you know, their vets on that team wasn't that, you know what I'm saying, they weren't really helping him out. So, but that's where I learned everything from, bro. Watching him go through his process, the good and the bad with that, you know, I kind of I stored that into my mental. And, you know what I'm saying, while I was going through my stuff in college, you know, once I started making money and I signed, you know, I already seen everything that happened from her. Hey, with Melo, you know, everybody I knew that was older than me, you know, I seen it all. So kind of gave me an advantage going into my situation.
You talked about a little bit about, you know, about Baltimore and about Baltimore basketball, about Melo, but like Baltimore City, especially even Baltimore County, I got such a rich tradition in basketball. So, you know, from like Melo to Muggsy to, you know, Juan Dixon to, you know, Dunbar High School, you know, they did the 30 for 30. So like, you know, what separates like, you know, Baltimore players, like, you know, what kind of makes y'all, you know, who y'all are, I guess you can say. And then like who's your favorite? I mean, you already kind of mentioned it, you know, about Melo, but like who's your favorite player to come out of Baltimore?
I think the main thing that when people talk about Baltimore, and like I said, mainly guards, but it's the toughness, man. Like it's so hard to get out of our city because it's like I said, everybody's really, and even with the county, you know, they move everybody when they close the projects down, they tearing down the projects. Everybody moves to the county most of the time. So I mean, at this point, most of the people that's from the city live in the county, or you know what I'm saying. It ain't like. It was always kind of like that rivalry. Like if you live in the county, you suck. You know what I'm saying? If you don't live in the city, because it was two different worlds. When you grew up in the city, you had to see a lot of different things that wasn't going on in the county. But it kind of shifted, and we didn't really respect county players. You know what I'm saying? We played against a team from Baltimore County. We just felt like we was tougher than them. When we play AAU, we go see some of these teams, you know what I'm saying? They got jerseys with the names on the back. Like, we really went at them because that was the stuff, you know what I'm saying? We had to stand on corners collecting, you know what I'm saying, collecting money and sell candy. So, you know what I'm saying? We just had a different type of chip on our shoulder. And then, like I said, just making it out the city, period, man. Like, I got friends, like, literally, like, monthly that's dying. You know what I'm saying? That throughout my career that we hooped together. Last week, one of my friends just got killed. Like, all the guys that I played with, like I said, that my neighborhood kept me away from, you know, them guys, they just fell into that trap. And when you talk about Baltimore basketball, the best players that come out of our city are those guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do have the Muggsies, Melo, Sam Cassell's, but, bro, we got a whole list of players who never touched professional basketball ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? You look at, like, Kill Carr right now. He's probably the most popular player ever to come out the city. Like, never, like, he played in the D-League, but never really played. You know what I'm saying? But if he go walk in any city right now, any gym, he'll sell it out.
Yeah, he shut it down.
Anywhere. So that's our city, bro. Like, and it's good, but it's kind of bad. And I'm trying to change that mentality because people give more respect to, you know what I'm saying, street legends than they do the guys that's really putting in work. Right. And you know, this is an argument we always have with this IG Live stuff that was going on. It was a big thing because you know what I'm saying, people who play in the streets, they don't like the pros to kind of talk down on them because some of them might be better. You know what I'm saying? So from my perspective, I just try to give them the credit they deserve, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't talk down on nobody, but also I don't compare my situation with theirs. You know what I'm saying? It's strictly
totally
basketball.
different.
Totally
like,
different. I can't say, you know what I'm saying? I can't compare myself to somebody when I'm playing and, you know what I'm saying, winning championships. But also, if somebody in the streets playing one-on-one for money and they running the streets, I'm not going to compare myself to them because they at the top of whatever they're doing. And I don't, you know what I'm saying? That's not my lane. So that's our city, bro. It's competitive, but also it's the hood politics. You know, that's kind of the reason why a lot of people don't really come back home. Juan Dixon, I met randomly. I was on a AAU team with his cousins.
Yeah.
I met Juan, like, when he was a freshman at Maryland. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't know nothing about him. And then literally right after I met him that next year, he started killing. You know what I'm saying? So, and Juan was kind of like my build. I was always real skinny. You know, Juan was skinny, but he could shoot it. You know what I'm saying? He was tough. And he went to the same high school my brother eventually went to. So, you know, him, Mo Haddon, Marcus Haddon.
Forgot about Mo Haddon.
Marcus Haddon is probably like, he's another one, bro. He's a hood favorite, but he put in work overseas too.
Yeah.
But that's one of my favorite players in the city, bro. Like, and he's one of the guys I have a good relationship with. And then, you know, like Melo and Rudy Gay. Like, those two, I think, set the tone. Sam Cassell kind of said it earlier, but like with him and Muggsy, but I think for my generation, it's Melo and Rudy. So they're the guys, you know, I talk to and I really look up to when it comes to this basketball, especially in business. You know, that's another avenue that I look up to those guys in too.
So let's talk about your Virginia Tech days, man. You know, coming out of high school, I'm sure you had tons of schools on you. So who was recruiting you? And then what ultimately led you to signing with Virginia Tech?
It's a funny story, bro, because like I tell everybody now that this shoe, all that shoe stuff happened with Andy Miller and those college coaches. Like, people don't understand how real this is, bro. So like I told y'all, bro, after 15 under, when we went Nike, like Nike they was looking out for us, bro. We was like Nike Elite. You know, we was getting all the shoes before they came out. Our high school team was Nike. Like, I was Nike, bro. Like, I didn't want to wear, like, I didn't wear no Adidas, nothing, bro. So when I started getting recruited, bro, like any school that was Adidas, I didn't even open the mail. So I had like Kansas, Pitt, like, even Virginia Tech used to be Adidas. I didn't even open Virginia Tech mail, bro, because they were Adidas. Like, if it wasn't Nike Elite School, I didn't even pay attention. So I missed out on some good schools just because of my loyalty to Nike, bro. Like, people don't understand, bro. This shoe thing, for me, bro, like, growing up, now this sneakerhead thing is popular, but, like I always been a shoe guy. So, like, I felt like I had to be loyal to Nike, bro, because I was getting Jordans 3 weeks, 4 weeks before they came out. Right. You know what I'm saying? Me and Tay was hooping and everything. People trying to buy our shoes, like, so, yeah, bro, like, that was a big thing. So I canceled out all the Adidas schools, bro. Like, so then it came down to Virginia Tech win Nike, and literally once I seen they win Nike, I watched them play. Bro, I started looking at VTech. Wake was my dream school. I wanted to go to Wake Forest. I was a big CP fan. So literally, Wake was my dream school, bro. If they would have offered me, I would have committed my sophomore year when I won my unofficial. With Skip Prosser was there, and I went to my unofficial. They were playing VTech, and 80 Visayo and VTech had 40. And I started thinking, I'm like, hold up. Greenberg over there letting people go. I'm like, switch up a little bit. So that was the first time, bro. Like, I went to that game, literally, bro. The coaches that was recruiting me from VTech, they watched me the whole game. Like, I'm in the stands on Wake side. They staring at me the whole time. As soon as the game over, they text me. You know what I'm saying? And from that point, VTech beat Wake. Wake came to Baltimore to see me my junior year. Skip Prosser came. The first half, I had like 2 points. He called the guy that was recruiting me like, nah, this ain't the guy for it. Second half, I had 27. And he called him back, was like, look, we need to get him back on a visit. But I started feeling like, you know what I'm saying, that wasn't the right fit for me because of what he was doing. And eventually, Tim Fuller, who was recruiting me, was CP's guy, he ended up leaving too because, you know, they wasn't really respecting, you know, his opinion. Okay. So, you know, Wake was my dream school. Didn't happen. Another one, Syracuse, they didn't recruit me. And we went to Syracuse my senior year. I wasn't signed yet. I was committed. But Syracuse used to do this thing with all their recruits where every team that the recruits played on, they would play in like a round robin. So we would match up with other Syracuse dudes. So we had to play Newman Goretti, which had Scoop Jackson, Scoop Jardine, and Rick Jackson. Yeah. So I went there, bro. I went crazy. Like, Tay for real. Tay had 3 fouls the first 5 minutes of the game. So he had 2 points, 3 fouls, and he had to sit down. And I had like 32, and all the Syracuse like alumni was calling why we didn't sign Delaney, sign Scoop, and I you know what I'm saying. I took, like I said, bro. We always took pride in that, like. All right, they signed Scoop and Rick. Like, me and Tay better. Why would you sign Scoop and Rick? They play on the same team, but they, you know what I'm saying? They not me and Tay. Right. So I, you know what I'm saying? My senior year, I just wanted to prove to people I was better than people, than other people that they had ranked above me or schools I thought they went to that I wanted to go to. Like, I really took pride in trying to kill people. And literally, that was our senior year, bro. Like, so that's kind of what took over my recruitment, but at the end of the day, like, when Greenberg told me we got Jamon Gordon and Xavier Dowdell graduating, both all ACC guys, and you got minutes coming in as a freshman, that's all I needed to hear. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to play against Maryland. Like, no, it's crazy because nobody from Baltimore ever wanted to go to Maryland, but Juan Dixon and Keith Booth. Like, they never really recruited in Baltimore.
Because y'all almost stayed home, right? That's part of the reason, right?
But no, they didn't even really recruit us, bro. They told Tay he wasn't good enough. When me and Tay wanted to go to school together, he wasn't good enough to go to Maryland. And he blew up that next summer and went, you know what I'm saying, and committed to Syracuse early.
That's crazy.
But they missed out on like 8 McDonald's All-Americans in 2 years.
They usually they recruit DC though, but they don't recruit Baltimore. That's kind of crazy thing, bro.
DC players don't want to go there either.
Yeah.
But you got to think in our class, in the class before mine, so it was me, Donté, Mike Beasley, Nolan Smith, Chris Wright, Austin Freeman, Kevin Durant, Scotty Reynolds, Ty Lawson,
It's
I don't
crazy.
even remember. Grievous back. Well, they got Grievous.
Yeah.
Who else they had, bro? It was so many players, bro. Like literally, it was like 9 or 10 players that they missed in 2 classes that like nobody just want to go there. So you know what I'm saying? The opportunity at Virginia Tech and me being able to play against Maryland, Duke, Carolina, like I said, bro, I always wanted to play against people who I thought that everybody thought was better than me, or they thought Virginia Tech wasn't a basketball school. So I wanted to go prove that I could beat Duke or Carolina or Maryland. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I eventually went there, because of that. And that's kind of how it always been in my career, bro, since I was 5 years old. Anybody who they ever said was better than me, or, you know, once you get to Europe, or they make more money than you, or they got a bigger budget, like all of that motivated me, bro. So that was the biggest thing me going to college.
Talk about your transition, because I've been to Blacksburg, Virginia, and like it's like it's nothing. Like it's literally like, if you think of a college town, like it's literally like a and I went there and it was like school wasn't even in session. I went there in the summertime for something, and it was like literally it was like nobody there. So like coming from Baltimore and then going to Blacksburg, Virginia, like how difficult a transition was that for you? I mean, was it a welcome transition? Like, was you looking for that, or was it just like, you know what I mean, just totally different? Because like B-Tech, like Blacksburg is all B-Tech. That's all really it is. That's it.
Yeah, no cities close to it, but I think so. My freshman year in high school, I went to a boarding school. So I went, like I said, I was playing football. I went on a football scholarship. I was playing both, but like my school was like $26,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? It was a boarding school. It was 50 minutes from where I grew up at in the suburbs in Baltimore. Sports was high level. So that kind of, it helped me mentally prepare for the rest of my career. And that's one thing I appreciate about that school. And then, you know, I went to private school. So when I grew up in elementary, middle, I never went to school with white people. Like it would be, you know, a couple here and there, but I wasn't around white people like that. In my neighborhood, we might have had 1 or 2 white families, but they were like hood white families. There wasn't no, I wasn't even used to, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to really interact with white people like that besides on sports. So me going to Catholic school and private school kind of helped me out, because when I got to Blacksburg, you know what I'm saying, it was nothing but sports. Like sports in school. And I think that helped me out too, because I had my fun in college, but if I was in Atlanta or like Florida, I feel like I'd have too much fun. So we had our fun, but it limited that, and you know, it was able to keep me focused. I was in the gym a lot. So being in a college town, man, that's all you had. And you know what I'm saying, being in a college town kind of prepared me for Europe too, because it's exactly the same. When that's the only thing going on in the city. In every school, 50 miles, 75 miles close. Everybody coming to our school. You know what I'm saying? We ain't have couldn't go to D.C. Charlotte was 2.5 hours. Like, we literally had to be stuck in Blacksburg. We couldn't go nowhere. So it wasn't that bad, but it definitely was a culture shock for me living in the mountains.
I mean, freshman year, sophomore year, you put up some big numbers and all that, and you know, going into your junior year, you get unanimous first team, and then you led the ACC in scoring. But you decided to go into the NBA draft. Let's talk about that process and all that.
Going into my sophomore year, I had a big year. So I went from averaging like 9 to 18, you know, freshman, sophomore year. So my sophomore year was really when I was like, all right, like, I'm gonna take this serious. Like, when people was talking about putting shots up, like if I had a bad game, I was going straight to the gym. My managers, they would leave like 3-4 bottles of water. I was in the gym. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I felt like I was putting the work in, and it was paying off for me. But once I had some success in my sophomore year, I made like third team on ACC. I was like, nah, I need to get player of the year. You know what I'm saying? And then the NBA became more realistic to me with Vasallo leaving. It was my team. Like I averaged 18 with him on the team. So I'm like, all right, well, I remember this talk, bro. My brother was like, yo, he was like, what's the easiest way for you to average 20? So I'm thinking about it. He was like, you got to think about different ways to score. He was like, you already averaged 18. He's like, what if you shoot 4 more free throws a game? So, you know what I'm saying? I started breaking it down with how can I get to the line? And people don't understand, like, I was shooting a lot of free throws, but I literally studied how to shoot more free throws. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was looking at different situations in the game. How can I get a foul? How can I do this? I'm setting a lot of screens. I know they're going to try to run me over. You know what I'm saying? I can just take a charge setting the screen free throw. You know what I'm saying? Like, all big men trapping or hedging. So I'm working on this stuff in the gym by myself. Like, I know what he's going to do. If he's showing, I see this, you know, in film, all I got to do is run at that top hip. If he's moving, it's a foul. Like, I'm literally studying the art of drawing fouls. And so that was the difference between my sophomore and junior year, where I was averaging, I was averaging like 24 at one point. And I hurt my ankle, like that 7th or 8th game of the season. I had a grade 2 sprain and a bone bruise. I was supposed to be out 46 weeks, and I played in 4 days. So I led the ACC in scoring hurt. And, like, I watched, I think it was Wake Forest, bro, the other day. I was hooping with 2 ankle braces. I had both my ankles taped because I was compensating for my bad ankle. I sprained my other ankle, too. So I had to wear I had tape, 2 braces, and I had to wear shoes that was a size and a half too big. And bro, I led the ACC like that. And you look at the film, like, if I tell you now you see a game, you're like, damn, he really couldn't move. And that's why I really started drawing fouls, because I couldn't move. You know what I'm saying? So I was shooting almost 11 free throws a game my junior year in ACC. And people was like, oh, but they don't understand how I even scored that much, bro. And I was like, I was hurt. So when you talk about the draft, you know, I had to enter the draft after that year, but I was getting the injections and all that for so long, bro. I went through withdrawal because of the medication. And once I put my name in the draft, I went and worked out in Portland. It was the first workout I had without any medicine or anything. And as soon as I was done working out, my ankle swelled up and I couldn't walk. So, you know, everybody was telling me, like, we got you early second round. You can play your way into the first round with these draft workouts. And I seen the guys they had in my group. I knew I was better than them, but I couldn't work out. So it came down to the decision, do I want to risk this and go undrafted? And at this point, I wasn't thinking about overseas. And it's crazy because knowing what I know now, I would have stayed in. Even though I was hurt, I would have stayed in the draft. Because, one, it was the first year they changed the draft rule about early entries when we only had 2 weeks to decide if we could leave. Literally the only year they did this, and they changed it back the year after. So I decided to come back to school. And another thing people don't know, my senior year, we was preseason number 1 in the ACC, Virginia Tech. So, you know, we had everybody coming back. We had 2 transfers. So I'm like, all right, if I go back to school, it ain't going to hurt if we win it. 5 people got hurt, season-ending injuries. So, like, 3 seniors, a junior we had transferred from Baltimore, Alan Chaney, came from Florida. And then we had a sophomore big man who got hurt. So literally 5 people was out for the season my senior year. So that draft process kind of helped and hurt a little bit because my decision to come back didn't end up being what it was. We still finished 4th in the ACC, still didn't make the tournament. But, you know what I'm saying, like I said, as a professional, knowing what I know now, I could have went to Chalon that year. You know, Marquez Hines went there, and then the next year I eventually ended up signing there. So it would have been the same thing just a year earlier.
You talked about a little bit about, like, you know, you guys not making NCAA, and then also about, you know, you were first team all ACC, but do you think because Virginia Tech wasn't a blue blood school that you guys didn't get the notoriety that you deserve, like getting the NCAA nod, or even you, as far as, like, you know, getting, you know, more national attention because it was a Virginia Tech's a football school? Do you think that kind of hurt you guys a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, bro. Greenberg got blackballed. Like, it was something because, like, we had historic seasons that never happened in ACC history, and we're literally. I went 9-7 twice in league, 8-8 and 7-9, and we didn't make the tournament once. If you went 500, if you went 8-8 in the ACC, you got in. Like every other
automatic. It's automatic.
Automatic. Bro, we went 9-7, and the team with Derek Favors at Georgia Tech with Derek Favors and Shumpert, they went 7-9 and got it. Damn. And we swept them. We beat them both times. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? When people look back at that, and that's the only reason I think I didn't get drafted. Because if I would have played in the tournament at least one time, it would have put that stamp on my career where, okay, he did it in ACC, but now everybody gets to see it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I might get a matchup where, I get to play against somebody that people didn't see me match up against.
Right.
And one big game is, you know how the tournament goes.
That's the difference. That could be the difference.
So yeah, bro, like I felt like we got blackballed. Same with me. I didn't get player of the year my junior year. They had co-players of the year. I think it was John Shire and Grievous. Neither one of them got unanimous first team all ACC. I was the only player to get unanimous first team, and I didn't get player of the year. Like, how is that even possible? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was stuff like that, bro. Like, it's
politics.
Not possible. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff motivated me, bro. I didn't even care about it because, like I said, bro, I was locked in so much. And after that junior year, I wanted to get healthy. I knew, what I'm saying, the lockout was coming the following year, but then everybody started saying, okay, we know you can score. Let's show everybody you can play the point, lead the team. So my senior year, I took less shots. I was more efficient. My average dropped like 1 point. And when it all came down to it, the word was like, oh, you should have just kept doing what you was doing. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm listening to people trying to be more efficient and show people that I can do different stuff, and it eventually hurt me. And that's why Europe helped me, man, because I was able to play real basketball. And another thing, bro, I did that. I led the ACC in scoring with no pick and rolls. We didn't play high pick and roll. We
straight
didn't
ISO.
It was ISO coming off screens. Like, I was shooting off screens. Like, it was never high pick and roll, no flat screens, no nothing. Transition ball screens. So when you look at basketball now, like, I would have easily averaged 25. Like, I could have led the country in scoring if I just had, a couple pick and rolls.
Yeah.
So, like I said, bro, that's why Europe, and I appreciate Europe because it put me in different positions to show different aspects of my game that people didn't see.
All right, let's talk about the disappointment on draft night. You obviously felt, and wanted to get drafted. And then going overseas. When did that come about, and when did you make that decision to go overseas?
Yeah, so my agent was my advisor when I entered my junior year. So my whole senior year, he was preparing me for that summer. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was telling me, like, look, it's going to be a lockout. I want you to go overseas, whether it's for 2 or 3 months. He was like, we don't know how long the lockout might last, so you need to get a job to put some money in your pocket. I didn't have any money. So I knew my senior year, I knew I was going overseas. Like, for how long, I didn't know. But I knew for a fact I was going overseas, whether I got drafted or not. And going into pre-draft, I had 13 workouts. I had 12 great workouts. One, I thought I didn't do good, and Minnesota said I did really well against Isaiah Thomas. But when I say I was, like, when I killed pre-draft, like, it was bad. And, like, every time I went into a draft workout, I was like, okay, they say he's going here, he's doing this. And I was killing every guard that was in front of me. And I thought I made a good impression on everybody. But when draft time came around, my agent told me, look, we got 3 teams. It was like Cleveland, Dallas, and San Antonio, something like that. He was like, they the 3 teams we looking at. They the 3 teams most interested. Dallas had 3 picks in the 50s. So I thought, you know what I'm saying, when I went to Dallas, it was me, Andrew Gowlock, somebody else, and I destroyed, like, like, Gowlock was the shooter. Yeah. He was the sleeper, but he was the shooter. So we doing the 5 spots, NBA range, 5 shots per spot. Gowlock come up, he hit 22, like 22 out of 5. Nigga, I came up, I hit 24. I missed 1 shot. So I'm like, all right. And this was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not hitting. I can shoot, but I'm not like Gowlock. That was his special. Yeah. So we in that workout, I'm like, okay. I don't know how I did it, but I go 24, 25. We play ones. I win every spot. Like, I'm just doing shit fucking around. Like, Like I don't even know what I was doing, bro. I was just feeling myself to the point where like it was like my 8th workout, and I was so confident going against all the guards that I just felt like couldn't open. Especially when we got the ones. Like when we got the ones, I'm like, okay, these dudes are shooters. You know what I'm saying? They known for doing this. Okay, they got a defender in my group. Like I really wanted to prove myself in ones. And I stood out. So I thought Dallas was the spot. Like they met with me after the workout. They're like, look, we got 3 picks. We really seriously looking at you at one of them. Cool. Draft night come, they traded all 3 picks in the 50s. Like first round. So after they did that, I stopped watching. You know what I'm saying? Like my agent was like, I didn't have a draft party, like none of that. My agent was like, look, we got this deal in Chalon, which I had signed 2 weeks before the draft. He was like, he was like, I don't want you to go second round where somebody holds your right. So if you don't get drafted, don't worry about it.
It's better for you.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that a lot of people didn't understand. And of course, I wanted to get drafted, but I started thinking about long term. Like, all right, if I do get drafted, team I don't want to go to, they hold my rights for next summer, maybe the summer after. Like, you know what I'm saying? They might try to force me to go to certain teams overseas. It became a mental game for me, and this is why I appreciate my agent, man. He really, really taught me the game, the business side of it before anything. So I understood all this clearly before the draft. So I wasn't as disappointed as some people were who had agents lying to them, telling them they was going to get drafted, and people around them. I had the right people in my corner, so it didn't really affect me that much. And I knew I was going to France to make some money, so I wasn't really worried.
So what was the biggest adjustment for you, you know, being there? And did you know anything about overseas basketball?
France was crazy, bro. Like, when I first signed that deal in Chalon, my first thought was, I'm about to go over here and find me a French wife. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was thinking about the wrong stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm watching Rush Hour, these movies. I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm in Paris every night.
Yeah, it's about to be fired. Man, look, I got off that flight, and we got to that city. I had to fly into Paris, and then we drove like 3 or 4 hours to the city. So I'm like, all right, I'm thinking I'm gonna be close to Paris.
Yeah.
Nah, we got in that town. Like, literally, they dropped me off. So they gave me my apartment. They was like, tomorrow we're gonna give you a car, whatever. So I had to go to the grocery store. Nobody spoke English. Like, and this is the first time, like, you know what I'm saying? I took Spanish in school. I knew the basics in Spanish, but French, I didn't know nothing. So I didn't know what milk to buy. Like, I didn't know the different meat, like from pork and turkey. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just buying stuff. And when they gave me my car the next day, they gave me this old stick shift, bro. Like, I never drove a stick before. They didn't explain to me how to drive it. They just gave me the keys. So I'm in the parking lot stuck, bro. I don't know how to put the car in reverse.
Talking about you got practice at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, bro.
Go ahead.
Bro, I'm hitting the curb. Like, I'm just going forward, hitting the curb. I'm like, yo, fuck it. I left it. I left the car there. I'm like, yo. I was like, I don't know how to drive. So they had to teach me how to drive the stick. Like I said, nobody spoke English. The only thing that saved me in France was we had a good team. You know, like I said, Marquez Hines left. I was the only newcomer on the team. And I was in like the best shape of my life. So when I went into camp, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't even pacing myself. Like, we was doing like all the drills we was doing, I was always first. We doing conditioning tests, I'm always first. Like, I went in there like, all right, I'm gonna come do this, prove myself, and go back to the league. You know what I'm saying? That was my mentality. And preseason, I was averaging like 27 in France. Blake Shield was hurt. And our point guard was with the French national team. So I was pretty much by myself, and I was cooking. Like, I'm like, man, it's about to be easy. So I learned the politics of overseas once that happened. Like, literally, once the season started, our point guard came in the locker room and drew a pyramid. And look, bro, this is the craziest story I ever had. So he drew a pyramid on the board, bro, on the dry erase board, and said, he wrote hierarchy of our team on the pyramid. So the top of the pyramid, he was like Blake Shield. He was like, Blake is Michael Jordan in France. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever he needs the ball, we get it to him. Last second shot, we get a ball to Blake. Like, he's the main player on the team. Second, he wrote Steve, me. So I'm like, yo, you think he's better than me, but I'm like, all right. And then third, he said, Malcom, I guess. Like, bro, I swear, like,
I guess.
Malcom, I guess.
So I'm like, all right. So now I see where the meeting was going. But bro, he did 1 through 13. Like, he wrote the last person on the pyramid on the team, everything, bro.
This the first day he walking in, bro. Like, bro, first day he walking in, like
fresh off the national team. I think France had won a silver that year, and bro, he was on top of the world. So the meeting basically was about me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I started seeing like, okay, he was like, yeah, because we got players here who think they're going to lead the team in scoring, and I'm like. So our coach over there looking like, all right. So I'm like, yo, is y'all talking about me? He's like, no, we speaking on the team. I'm like, all right. I said, listen, bro, like I came over here to do my thing, help the team out. I'm trying to go back home next summer. I don't care about being a top player on the team. You know what I'm saying? So that was my introduction to politics overseas. Like, we in practice, they speak in French. And then, the young French players don't like the older guys, so they telling me everything they saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, luckily that year we won the Triple Crown in France. And, you know what I'm saying? That kind of set off my career.
I'll talk about, now you go to, Ukraine, you win the Ukraine Super Championship, and you First Team All Euro Cup. Then you go to Byron, you win another championship, Finals MVP, Season MVP. Your first 3 years in Europe, bro, it's like you won 3 titles. But not only did you win titles, besides the team in Ukraine, but it was like these are all the teams, like, they first time winning. Like, the team in France, they first time winning. The team in Byron is their first time winning. So, talk about, like, what type of success, what type of attention did you garner from that? And kind of like what kind of led to that success, did you do you even realize it? Cause I was looking, I was like, yo, he literally won 3 championships in like 3 years. Like, that started your career. Like, that's crazy.
Yep. And like I said, this all goes back to my childhood. Like, when I was picking, besides the Chalon deal, after that point, I always wanted to go to a team where, I can make something happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I went to Ukraine and Budavelnik, Azimaj and Donetsk was running, VTB and the Ukrainian league. Like, they had the most money. I could have went to Azimaj, but that was the worst city in Europe.
It's terrible.
I was always turning down money for situations. You know what I'm saying? I could have made more money, but I'm like, all right, if I go to this team and kill and lead them to whatever it was, it's gonna make me look better. So the Budavelnik thing, we wasn't predicted to go nowhere in Euro Cup. Like, that just happened because me and Leo Lyons was hooping.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? Like, we beat St. Petersburg when they had all the money. We pretty much made them destroy that Zenit with the first Spartak St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
Like, they took all the money out of there after we beat them. They were supposed to go to the Final Four and we beat them. You know what I'm saying? And they was joking around. We played a home and away. They beat us by like 13 at home, and we had to come back home. We ended up beating them by like 19 to 20. You know what I'm saying? So these were teams that wasn't predicted to do anything. And you know what I'm saying, just trying to put that chip on my shoulder and that challenge to myself, especially going to Munich. When I went to Munich, Bamberg was running Germany. Like, Bamberg was running Germany. Like, it was nine straight, and then Alba had like a little team. But my agent was like, look, we got Bayern Munich. They're gonna be EuroLeague. This is the first team you're going to be able to show you can play point guard. He's like, if you really want to get paid in Europe, you need to run the team. So I'm like, all right. So I took that challenge on myself. He was like, the coach going to be crazy. But if you get this stamp from a Serbian, like, you can play for anybody.
Yeah.
So my whole goal going to Munich was, okay, I'm playing for a crazy coach. You know what I'm saying? Let me show that I can play for anybody, be coachable, and then run the team. And, we played Bamberg the first game of the season. It was crazy. And that's when the power shift happened. It's like all the media was there. We played them in Munich. It was like, okay, Bamberg just won. They've been running Germany. Now Munich got all the players from Alba. I just signed there. We had a Bryce Taylor. Like, it was a couple guys who came in, and it was like, okay, let's see who the best team is. And we beat Bamberg that first game. It kind of was like, all right, Munich is the new team in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
But it was only because of soccer at first. It was like, okay, they got money, but they never won nothing.
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying? I took that challenge that year to, one, prove I can play with all the top guards in EuroLeague, and two, to try to get that first championship in Munich. And, playing well in EuroLeague, it helped me out going into the German league because I was prepared for whatever when we came to those playoff series. And we had beat, Alba on the road. We closed it in Alba on the championship. That stuff was kind of easy for me playing. We had to play y'all. We had to play all these other teams in EuroLeague and with my first experience. So it was just kind of a tester for me.
What was your first impression of the EuroLeague? I know with Munich, that was your first, taste of that level of talent. Just for the people who are familiar with the NBA only, just let them know what EuroLeague is all about.
My first EuroLeague game. All right, let's start off with preseason. When I got to Munich, we went 1-10 in preseason. We was getting smacked. We was playing Red Star. It was bad. So I'm like, when I got there, I'm like, we got some names on here, but it ain't really, you know what I'm saying? It ain't really looking. And coach was killing us. He was running us. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was tired. So people were like, yo, how we gonna play a game with coach running us like this, practices this hard? We had 2.5 hours, 2 practices every day, 2.5 hours each. We watching hour and a half of film. You know what I'm saying? It was, that part was the shock. And I think the first game we played in Poland, I didn't really shoot the ball well. I think I had 10 points and 8 assists or something. I played a good floor game, but it wasn't I always try to play a good first game so I can kind of have something to spark me and give me some momentum going into that next round. So I didn't play well the first game to my standards. Second game, we played against Siena, and they had Daniel Hackett, Kim English, Eric Green. So they had that team. And like I said, me and Kimmy went to school together. Eric was my little bro at VTech. And we was talking before the game, and they was like, yo, Daniel Hackett is you know what I'm saying, Bobby Brown just left.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Hackett is acting like he's, you know what I'm saying, this is when all the rumors was coming out. Hackett is the top guard. He's trying to get, this team will want to buy him out.
Mm-hmm.
They was like, bro, this dude Hackett, he just doing too much. But in practice, he a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, I went into that game all right, Daniel Hackett. You know what I'm saying? This guy's supposed to be the top guy. I didn't play well the first game. We back in Munich. And then they said something about, I think Hackett, I don't know if Hackett said it or somebody else was like, yeah, he can't shoot, so go under. So I'm like, all right, I just went 0 for 4 the first game. Y'all think I can't shoot. So literally, I went to shoot around. My whole shoot around was sitting behind screen shooting off pick and roll.
Mm-hmm.
And we started the game out. I started cooking early. Hackett was going under screens. I was just stopping behind the shoot. And I took a this is my personal battle. I ain't care about the game. I'm like, yo, I gotta try to kill Daniel Hackett. You know what I'm saying? And we beat Siena, and that kind of got me rolling. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But all it took was, oh, he can't shoot. I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? All right, this the best guy. This the best top guard in EuroLeague right now. All right, I knew Bobby, so I'm like, all right, he want to be Bobby. He want to do what Bobby did last year. I'm like, nah, we ain't about to have that. So. That was my first real EuroLeague experience. But once I seen, you know what I'm saying, once I started playing well there, it was over. I just felt I can get mine off whenever I can, but I was also helping our team. And, you know what I'm saying, that's what eventually separated me.
You got to talk about that. You play now leaving Munich, and then you go on to play for Lokomotiv. And that team was stacked, man. You, Chris Singleton, Randolph, another Baltimore native. You had Draper. Y'all had a squad, man, and you had Coach Bardukas too. That he's a well good coach too. But let's talk about all that, and then that was your first year, going to the Final Four.
All right, so when I was in Munich, mind you, I was off the NBA. So probably in March, Houston came with an offer. They was going. I think Pat Beverly got hurt, and Houston came with an offer. They was gonna give me a 2-year deal for the rest of that season and the following season. They was gonna buy me out. So Munich turned it down. They didn't let me go. I didn't have a buyout in my contract, so I had to stay. So my mind shifted to NBA after that. So that summer was LeBron's return back to Cleveland summer. So nobody was making moves until LeBron decided what he was going to do. And for me, it was like, all right, I had a goal financially that I wanted to get to by 25. And I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? This is my summer. My agent was like, look, we're going to have a tough decision. Either somebody going to offer you some big money in Europe or, you know what I'm saying, we're going to have an NBA deal. So, you know, once the season was over, I'm like, all right, NBA. I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to go back to Europe. I'm playing in the league. I think it was Olympiacos, Galatasaray, and Loko came. Gala was, I think Adam was there. He wanted me to get a Turkish passport. It was me and Keith Langford. So they were like, we want both of y'all to come in, get the passport. I only entertained it because the Olympics was coming up. You know, I was like, all right. Turkey was in the group. Yeah, Turkey was in the group with the USA. I'm like, oh, I can get a chance to go to the USA. So, you know, I entertained it, and I actually I picked Galatasaray. You know, it was like Loko was the most money, Gala was in the middle, Olympiacos was at the bottom. But I'm like, all right, I can go to Istanbul. The city is solid. The money is good. So I decided, like, I verbally agreed to Galatasaray. And then 2 days later, they called me and was like, we got to have a meeting with the board. We got to figure out something happened with soccer. We got to get some money. I called my agent. I said, nah. I'm like, something don't seem right. You know what I'm saying? So we had played Loko with Munich the year before, and they had a good crowd. The arena was solid. I'm like, all right, the weather nice here. It was like, we played them in like top 16. I'm like, the weather's nice. It ain't no crazy Russian weather. So I was like, I actually probably could play here. And, you know, they was just good with Nick. They won Euro Cup. So my agent was like, look, Loko offering you the most money. You know what I'm saying? We can go sign a 2-year. We'll get an NBA out. And then in 2 years, we'll revisit. Or if you play well this year, next summer, we might be looking at something else. So my first Locomotive year, our team was actually better. Like, it was me, Derek Brown, like Kruno, and Richard Hendricks, like Montes Kalinitis. Like, we had our squad was crazy for years.
That was the year y'all won like 20 games in a row or something like that.
We broke the record. We won 19 straight Euro Cup and then lost. It was crazy, bro. We played Onyx in the top 8. Keith Langford got hurt. We played him in Onyx, won by like 11 or 12. Langford got hurt, but Derek Brown was hurt, and I think Randolph got hurt. So we was playing without them two, but they didn't have Keith. You know, back then, like, without Langford, like, Onyx was nothing. So we played them, bro, and they went big. They played James White at the 2, Kamikaze at the 3, and then they had 2 big men, and our coach wouldn't adjust. So all they did was post up the whole game. But James White had 30 he had 1 3-point make. Like, he had the best game, and they ended up they killed us. And like, we broke the record for most wins in the season and didn't go. You know what I'm saying? We was a lot to win Euro Cup that year. So, you know, that season was a disaster. But that summer, Atlanta called me. As soon as I got home, Atlanta called. My agent was like, look, the Hawks want to meet with you. Go down there for a week, work out with the coaches, you know, have some interviews, and, you know what I'm saying, something might happen. So I came down to Atlanta, worked out. They was telling me what they wanted to do in the draft. They was like, look, we want to bring in a guard that's versatile. You know, we got 2 guards that kind of do the same thing with Schroeder and Teague, and we need somebody to kind of change the pace. So I'm like, all right, cool. Worked out for them. The draft came. They wanted to trade. I forgot who they wanted to trade, but it didn't happen. So I knew everybody they was going to draft. I knew the trades they was making when they got Tim Hardaway back. Like, they told me everything. And, my out clause in my contract was like July 20th or something. And we couldn't get the deal done before July 20th.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go back to Loko that second year. And, I was off it. Like, as soon as I had that taste of, like, NBA, I was like, I'm asking my agent, I'm like, yo, there ain't nothing else we could do. Like, so Loko, Barzokis came to Loko. So they was like, oh, they're going to sign Barzokis. He called me. He was like, look, I've been wanting to coach you for 4 years. I'm building a team around you. We're going to bring in Chris Singleton. We're going to bring in this and that, Ryan Brokoff. I'm like, all right. So the day I get to Russia, bro, we have a meeting. And they was like, oh, we cutting the budget. We can't pay you. If you can find another team to pay you the same contract, we'll let you go. So I'm like, yo, I just had an NBA deal that all y'all had to do to say this summer was
say before.
We can waive that option. Like, literally, bro, it was so many things that kept me away from the NBA. Like, it was crazy. And so that happened, and Barzokis called me. I had a deal with Shanghai. I was going to go to China, and they was going to give me more money. These were the Rockets people, and they told Shanghai to take me in for the year, and, I was going to come back home. Bro, we had the contract again. Barzokis called me at like 6:30 in the morning, and he was like, yo, like, I heard you want to leave. And I'm like, nah, like, who told you that? I'm like, they didn't tell you what the situation was? He was like, nah, what happened? I was like, they told me that I should leave because they can't pay me. And he was like, nah. He was like, give me 2 or 3 hours. Don't make any decisions. Don't sign a contract. He was like, just give me 3 hours, and then I'll call you. And he called me back, was like, yo, I told him that if you leave, I'm leaving. And they came up with the money. It was like, all right, well, somehow they came up with the money.
But Joker's real for that, man.
And that's when I gained respect for him, bro. Like, he really built that team around my skill set. He trusted in everything I could do, and then, he really genuinely wanted me to succeed. And then once he did that, bros, and told him that he would leave if I leave, I had ultimate respect for him. So that kind of set the tone for our season.
Yeah, I mean, talk about, like, y'all, because y'all were like one of the first teams at that time that went 5 out. Because y'all had Chris, y'all had Anthony, you had yourself, you had, like you said, you had Brokoff. It was so talk about, like,
oh man, it was and initially, like, nobody really believed that what we was doing, because I think our first group, bro, we was predicted fourth.
Yeah, I remember.
And so we was playing 1 through 5. We switching everything on defense. And we was pick and roll. We was just playing free, bro. It was fun to play that way. But so when we started winning the first couple games, I think Panathinaikos was the game. We played Panathinaikos at home, and they was predicted to be like second in the group or whatever. And we made it look easy. So everybody was like, oh, this locomotive team don't play defense. Just because we was switching, like, everybody was knocking what we was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the top 16, it was like, okay, we finished our top 16 group in first. So then everybody was like, well, they might be playing defense. We had the number 1 defense after that. And they was like, it's a little different, but, they getting it done. Like, they didn't want to give us credit. It was like, this is not the typical European style. We don't know if they're really playing defense, but you had, like, Singleton, Randolph. Like, we had guys who really could defend. And it was just awkward for teams. So, literally, up until we played y'all in the Final Four, bro, nobody knew what to do with our system. But y'all had a good coach. So when y'all countered it with pretty much the same thing, bro, we didn't know what to do. Like, literally, bro, like we practice against this every day, but we expected y'all to play a certain way, and it was, I'm like, damn, bro,
he flipped it.
Everything, like,
we
didn't have no answer, bro. Because
it's crazy though, because he had that in his back pocket. Like, he was like, all right, we played y'all 4 times. All right, we played y'all in VTB, and I was VCO. So he was like, all right, he was like, you know what? If we play them in the Final Four, I know what we're going to do. But he didn't want to show it in the VTB, so he was like, all right, we're going to wait. And then that game, but he told us that morning in shoot around, he was like, yeah, Nikita is going to play. I think I started off from Brokoff. I was playing at 3, and it was like, Nikita, you going to play Chris or Anthony.
Yeah, bro,
that switch everything.
Oh, and then y'all start out 10-0. I'm like,
Yeah.
like, hold up, bro. Brother, and this is the crazy thing about Loko, bro. We did not study game film on people. Like, we literally, when we say we had our system and that was it, bro. If we watch film, it might be on us, but we never like broke down what y'all do, like, and it helped us, but it hurt us in the Final Four. You know what I'm saying? Because, but like you said, y'all switched it up, bro, and we was beating y'all VTB. Like, we always, like, in VTB was crazy. We like, oh, we got Seska. Like, all right, we got, you know what I'm saying? We got the answer for Seska. Nope, switched it up on us. But, yeah, bro, like, I think we just proved something that year, and then everybody after that year went on to sign, you know, good contracts with better teams. And it just wasn't right because they didn't have the money, you know what I'm saying, to do anything else in Loko. And, you know what I'm saying, they eventually, you know what I'm saying, you see what happened after that. But that was a fun year, man. And that group of guys, it was tough, man. That him putting that team together and then signing like Matt Jan and Late was a great addition to us. And that whole vibe of that year was solid, bro.
Y'all like literally like changed the style of like European basketball low key, because like now you see everybody's kind of having like the pick and pop forward, or now they playing the pick and pop five. And I think I was you know telling somebody before, it was like, yo, EuroLeague doesn't give you guys enough credit, like as far as like that season, like that season, like to be a wild card team and to get all the way to the Final Four, like EuroLeague should be like focusing more on that season and focusing more what y'all did, because and then look at all the players that came from it. Like you said, Brokoff went to the NBA, Jennings is a EuroLeague player, Chris, so on and so on. You, Randolph, like they don't give you guys enough credit for that. Like it's almost like they didn't want it to happen, and it's like they don't even talk about it.
And the fact we beat Barcelona, like, you know what I'm saying, beat Barcelona in the game 5, like pretty much, like, you know what I'm saying, that was pretty much Navarro's last good year. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a lot that went into that year. We definitely don't get credit for it. But like I said, I think everybody ate off that season. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was crazy with how that momentum shifted and what everybody else did in their careers. So it was dope, man. It helped us all out.
You definitely got to talk about, you know, just the whole atmosphere for the ones that don't know about, you know, the EuroLeague and playing in the Final Four. You got to talk about that atmosphere and what it's like. I know you played on the big stage before, but let's talk about that stage, man.
Yeah, the Final Four was crazy, bro. Like, and you know, I had Draper on my team, so Draper was in Madrid before, and me and Draper, like, bro, we argued for like 3 years. We always had this debate. He's like, yo, like, you need to go to Madrid. I'm like, man, look, I don't need to go to Madrid. Like, I can beat, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can beat Madrid. Like, Draper will tell you, bro. Like, we always had this debate, bro. Even at Loko, because Draper called me, he was like, yo, I feel like you're going to have a good season. You're going to put 2 more years on my career. He's like, I'm going to just come in. He was like, I know you're going to have a big year, and then, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to go off what you do. So that was the plan, bro. And then we ended up playing together. But, bro, every time we travel, it's like, yo, Madrid is just like the NBA. I'm like, look, bro, ain't nothing like the NBA. NBA is different. Like, don't compare Madrid. You know what I'm saying? I always was on the opposite side. I'm like, bro, I don't care how good y'all had it at Madrid. It ain't the NBA. He's like, look, listen, bro, if you can get to Madrid, I'm like, nah, man. Like, I want to beat them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I was in Munich, we beat Madrid. When they was on that 27, 28 game winning streak that year, we beat them. And I'm like, yo, I don't care. And this is my mentality from when I was a kid. Like, I don't care about Madrid. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big name. But what happens when I beat Madrid? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in Loko now. We got Barcelona to go to the Final Four. What happens when we beat Barcelona? Right. You know what I'm saying? When Loko beat Barcelona. So going into that Final Four, bro, it was like I heard the stories, but once I got into like that first media shoot around, and, you know, everybody was there, and you know what I'm saying, you get to the game and you got 4 different fan sections, and you know what I'm saying, we playing against a team that's probably, you know what I'm saying, supposed to win EuroLeague. It was different, bro. Like, but for me, it was also a stage, because when we got to the Final Four, I knew I was going to the NBA after. You know what I'm saying? We was meeting. I had a big deal in China. There's a couple NBA teams that, you know, wanted me to verbally agree to deals, you know, before we played y'all. So I already knew, like, after this what was going to happen. But I didn't get to prove myself on that stage yet. So my mentality again is like, all right, we got Seska, DeColo, just got MVP, I think. I made first team, but I want to play. I want people to see me in DeColo.
Yeah, go back and back.
I want to see that on the Final Four, actually. So, we lost to y'all, but I had a good game. And then once people see me play good against y'all, it was like, all right, like, this season was crazy, but he's really proven that, he played with everybody. And then the game against Mike James and Darius, it was kind of like, all right, nobody want to play for third place. But my mentality was like, I'm going to the NBA after this. I want to have a good showing, my final game. I want to win. I want to have a good game. So I ended up playing well, and we ended up winning. But I already knew after that, we forfeited DTB. We basically
y'all went right back to the crib.
Niggas was tight, man. I ain't lie to you. Niggas was tight.
Ever do that, bro? Like, I think people always talked about like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I think every team has had this conversation, like, man, we tired of this, man. We trying to, you know what I'm saying? You talk about it, but it's like, all right, when the coach say, look,
I actually went through it.
Yeah, he said, yo, what do y'all think about, resting, getting ready for the Final Four? And we was like, what you mean? Like, we ain't trying to win? Like, we ain't trying to beat Kempke? He's like, we beat Kempke, like, literally the VTB gonna start right after Final Four or whatever he said. He was like, I'd rather just play Final Four because Barzokas did not respect VTB League. Like, so he did not care. He cared about EuroLeague. So when we got that, but we looked at each other, we like, we're gonna be home before Memorial. I'm like, all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that gave us another incentive in the Final Four. All right, we got 2 games left, bro. Like, they got to go back and play VTB. We go home.
I remember like they was in Cheska. They was like, they disrespecting the game. Like, they was hot. Like, Russian players was tight. They was watching that kid game. They was like, what is this?
Yo, it was crazy, bro. And the craziest part about it was that first game in Kempke, I didn't play. Randolph didn't play. Draper didn't play. Bro, we was up by 20 at halftime. So
y'all could have won. Y'all could have won the game.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, I'm like, yo, what are y'all doing, bro? We giving y'all the game. And then him and Sved actually, they ended up, putting something together, and they ended up beating us by like 3. I'm like, yo, we gave y'all the game, and y'all still, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all still trying to lose it. So, yeah, bro, we was freed up. Like, Final Four was more fun for us, bro. Like, we didn't have pressure. We did feel confident going against y'all, but we knew, like, some teams are built for Final Fours. Like, y'all, like, Seska was one of the teams, no matter what happened, y'all always was in position to win. Like, every year, you look at a couple teams knowing they got the opportunity to win it. So we didn't have pressure, man. We was playing freely. We knew we was going home. So, you know what I'm saying? We was celebrating that season because we already did more than what people expected us to do anyway. And then, we had players who had already kind of agreed to deals. I was going home. I knew Atlanta promised me in like January that they would have a roster spot for me, and they would, when draft came around, they would do some things to make sure it was good for me in free agency. So I knew what I was going to do that next year. So I just wanted to give a good showing on my way out.
You talk about you knew what was going to happen, but what was that moment like, actually signing that contract, signing the dotted line, and finally being in the league after 5 years in Europe?
To be honest, bro, like, it's crazy because when I tell the story, like, people think like I would have been like crying, like, bro, like, it did not register. Like, it kind of felt like it was normal. It was like, yo, like, I'm supposed to be here. It was like a normal free agent signing for me. Like, if I would have signed a deal in Europe, it was like, all right, this is just the next chapter of my career. So, like I said, bro, when I knew it was a couple teams that was offering me deals. A lot of teams wanted me to take minimum. I'm like, nah. Me and my agent was like, look, we ain't chasing the NBA. If they coming after you, it's gonna have to be a legit deal. I had a big offer from Barcelona, 3-year. Memphis came in with, I had a lot of big offers. So literally, I was in Miami. Me, 2 of my friends, we was in Miami chilling. I'm asleep. My free agency opened up. My agent called me. It was like 6:30, 7 in the morning. So when he called me, I'm like, this the first call free agency. Somebody, you know what I'm saying, something gonna happen. So he called me. He's like, look, we got San Antonio, they offering minimum. We got this team offering minimum. We got Houston, they offered me the biggest deal, but they told me I wouldn't play my first year. In my second year, you know, I would get more of an opportunity to play. So they didn't know if I wanted to do that. Then he said Atlanta came in with a 2-year deal. They gave me a possible 3-year or 2 years, 2 different contracts. So they was like, what you want to do? So I'm like, all right, 2 years, I can go in and prove myself and then be free, you know. When I don't want to lock in 3 years at the same money. So I took the 2-year, and I told them they had to give me a little bit more money each year. So I was like, look, I got this offer here. I don't want to take less. I'm already taking a pay cut to go to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? At least you got to match this European offer. So they was like, all right, call back. Deal was done. So agent called, was like, look, we agreed to it, whatever. Tell your family. So, you know, my friends was in the condo. I just put it in the group chat, like, yo, sign with, where I just committed to signing with the Hawks. So they start wilding. Like, they going crazy. They running my room. But I really wasn't like, I wasn't even smiling. Like, I just felt like, literally, I'm like, yo, I did so much to get here.
Yeah,
and
like,
then I just signed, you know what I'm saying? And then it just felt normal. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was about to be 27, like a 27-year-old rookie. I was 26. I'm like, this just felt normal for me, bro. And like, it never really hit me, bro, until I stepped on the floor for that first preseason game. Because I just felt like, even in training camp, I'm like, man, I belong here. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I went there, Dennis, it was gonna be Dennis' team, and the coach was like, your matchup is Dennis. I don't want you guarding nobody else. Dennis was the fastest guy, one of the fastest in the NBA. So he didn't know that I could compete with Dennis. But this was another thing where it was like, all right, Dennis is the fastest guy in the NBA. So, or one of them. If I can stay in front of Dennis, like, I know I can hold, you know what I'm saying? So it was a different challenge. I went from being a scorer and the lead guy to, all right, I need to prove that I can set the tone on defense. I can run the team, you know what I'm saying? So that's really when it hit me, bro. Like, I really did not, like, really celebrate it until, you know what I'm saying, I really started playing.
Now, I don't want to get too much into the incident with your brother, but first of all, like, talk about, you know, how he's doing now. You know, obviously, you know what I mean, talk about, like, his status now. Talk about, you know, like you talked about a little bit earlier, but, like, you know, what he meant to you. And then just personally, I just want to know, like, you know, like you said, like you just celebrated, you know, one of the biggest achievements in your career. Yep. And then, like, you didn't necessarily have the opportunity to, like, you know, kind of celebrate the right way. So talk about, you know, the big thing, like, you know, how did you get over that, like, that mental part of, like, you know, having to go through that with your brother, but then still having to go out on the court and having to perform and, you know, from that opportunity.
Yeah, so that was crazy, bro. So like you said, so I actually signed the contract in LA. So I was in LA. I went to P3 in Santa Barbara. And I was at P3 to do some testing, went to LA, met with the Hawks, and I signed in LA and flew straight home to Baltimore. That day, I was having like a dinner with my family, you know what I'm saying, just celebrating whatever happened. And then that night, I was taking my friends out. So all this stuff happened the day after, you know what I'm saying, I signed my contract. So literally, it went from like celebrating with my people to like that. So that kind of, that was another reason why I couldn't really enjoy it, bro. Like, my first year, like, mentally, I wasn't, like, you know what I'm saying? Basketball was my only outlet. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, dealing with that, especially, like, so I was supposed to be getting ready for, like, I wasn't going to play Summer League, but, you know, I was supposed to be with the team training and luckily the Hawks, and you know what I'm saying, I appreciate the Hawks for helping out with that, because they was like, look, just stay home with your family. They was sending coaches to come work me out. Like, you know, 'cause I was in the hospital all day. So I would go, the morning I would wake up, I would work out. They had somebody come in town. I would work out for 2 hours at Bowie State, and then I would go straight to the hospital. So, you know what I'm saying, my brother wasn't conscious for like probably like the first week and a half. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't doing anything. So everybody was at the hospital the first week and a half. trying to figure out the situation. And then I had to go, I want to say to either Atlanta. I came to Atlanta to do something with the team, and as soon as I came to Atlanta, my brother got transferred to another hospital. And as soon as he got to the other hospital, he started like communicating. Like he woke up. So the first hospital he was at wasn't the best one, but you know what I'm saying, they saved his life. So I appreciate, you know what I'm saying, that hospital. But that wasn't a hospital for that type of situation. We just so happened to be 2 miles from a hospital, and we had to pull up at that hospital when it happened. So once he got transferred over and he started like being more active, he could talk a little bit, then I was like, all right, cool. I can like, you know what I'm saying? It relieved a little bit of stress off me, and I could get back to influence in my life, whether it was music, like the sneakers, like everything all the trends that he followed, you know, I followed what he did. And that was the main person that kept me out of the street. So, you know, our whole dream was to NBA. He was a football player, so one of us got to go somewhere in NBA, NFL, like, you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't able to share that with him. And that was the biggest thing my first season. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to go out. So I'm thinking, like, you know, my brother went to school for business management. Like, this is supposed to be like a family thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's supposed to be involved in everything I'm doing. So I wasn't going out, bro. I wasn't talking to people. Like, it was like, you know what I'm saying? I was just thinking about, all right, he can't watch me play. He can't, like, everything I did was like, you know, I couldn't share that moment with my brother. So that kind of affected me until he could come to the game. And he came to the game when we played the Wizards. And that was the first time he got to see me play. And then after that, you know, it kind of got back to normal. But it took almost a whole season, bro, mentally just to get adjusted to him not being around and, you know, being able to do as much. And, you know what I'm saying, just seeing his situation because he's paralyzed from, like, the chest down. Like, seeing him from where he was until, you know what I'm saying, the stuff that he couldn't do. So it was it definitely impacted me a lot, bro. But it also motivated me because now it was like, all right, now I got to do something for both of us. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of helped me out after that. But my first year, I struggled, bro. And, you know, people don't know, I got subpoenaed to go speak in front of a grand jury during the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? We go play the Wizards. I get served papers to go serve on the grand jury. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it wasn't even nothing. The police did nothing with that situation. So they were just throwing me in stuff, you know what I'm saying, that I didn't have no clue about almost a year later while I'm in the middle of the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't even enjoy that season. So, you know, once I got out of my first year, bro, it was so much of a relief to be done with all that stuff and be able to just get back to what I love to do. It was a blessing.
What was your mindset on the court, you know, as far as, you know, buying into that backup role? You know, you was the man overseas, buying into that backup role, and then what ultimately led you to make that decision to come back overseas?
I knew my situation, bro. Like, one thing about me in my career, I've always been realistic. I don't, like, you know what I'm saying? Some people are unrealistic with what they can do, what they can bring to a team, what their role is on a team. I knew going into the NBA that, especially my first year, I was going to back up a young point guard. And looking back, I wish, like, you know what I'm saying, if I had to do it over again, I probably wouldn't have signed with Atlanta because I think I would have been better on a team like San Antonio where it was a vet guard that wasn't playing 34, 35 minutes. And, you know, I could actually, you know, do more than what I did. I think when I signed with Atlanta, I thought they were running a Spurs-style offense, a lot of ball movement, everybody get touches. And it kind of turned into, like, you know, Dennis was the guy. He ran all the pick and rolls. Once I got in, it was crazy because my first year, the starting five always would be losing when we got in the game. And we had one of the best benches in the league. So every game, it was like, all right, bro, we on the bench. Like, look, we got to pick it up for the starters. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was our job.
Okay.
And we all had, like, it was three of us that had top 15 plus minuses going into All-Star break. So my role was fine. You know, I didn't mind it. I didn't have any pressure again. I could just help the team out. I proved that, you know what I'm saying, I can get other people around me better. I probably could have been more aggressive, but they didn't ask me to do that. And, you know, that's another thing that you learn in the NBA. Like, you can't be that guy who just does what they ask you to do. You kind of got to ignore it and and just play. My mentality wasn't where I needed it to be, but they told me I was playing good. So, you know what I'm saying? I was cool. And eventually they brought in Jose Calderon, which he didn't play the whole season. And they was like, we want to bring in a vet for the playoffs. And I'm like, all right, cool. They was like, y'all going to play for the backup spot because we didn't have a third point guard. So they said, all right, for the next 2 weeks, y'all going to compete for the backup role going into the playoffs. Once again, we get in practice. I was killing him. Like, it wasn't even close, bro. Like, because he, you know, Jose was older and he didn't play the whole season. I was in tip top, and you know what I'm saying. I was good. And once I seen an older guy in front of me, I'm like, you're definitely not gonna take my spot. So, bro, I was like, literally everything we did, I was killing them. Literally, I didn't know I wasn't playing until I played like 50 games straight. And then the media was like, so how do you feel about Bud saying that he's going to give Jose 4 games and then he'll give you 4 games? I'm like, I ain't hear nothing about that. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, the media told me first. And then he called me into the office like, look, you know, we didn't have a third point guard. I want to give Jose an opportunity. So for the next 4 games, I'm going to play Jose. And then 4 games after that, I'm going to play you. Again, I played solid 4 games. They decided to go with Jose for the playoffs. So I'm like, all right, we got the Wizards, guard-heavy team. Why would you play Jose Calderon to match up with Brandon Jennings? You know what I'm saying? This is when, like, I'm like, okay, do we want to win or, like, what are we doing? Brandon Jennings had the best – like, he didn't play well the whole year with them. Playoffs came around, him, Bill, and John Wall went crazy. Like, bro, Bill and John Wall was averaging, like, 30 apiece, and then Jennings was averaging, like, 10 and, like, 7. So I'm like, bro, like – I'm just sitting over there, and this was like, if I was younger, it probably would have broke me, but I understood what the business, like the business side of it was. And I'm like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to win. I know I can help us win, but it's out of my hands. So I just let it go, bro. And going into my second year, they told me they wanted me to get back to being me. They want me to shoot more threes. Mind you, I was top 5 in the league in pull up 2-pointers. I was top 5. They told me, we don't want you to shoot pull-ups. We want you to shoot more threes. I'm like, all right, cool. Everybody got equal opportunity to play. Like, it's no set. Dennis is the only player with a set with a set minutes, and he gonna do what he do. He was the franchise guy. He just signed his extension. He was like, besides Dennis, everybody else, it's fair game. So once again, I go into that summer, and this is the best shape I've ever been in. I've been in the gym. Like, you know, NBA, some players take time off. I didn't take any time off. Like, we went to Miami for like a weekend, and then we got right in the gym. So one-on-ones, killing. Like, pickup, I'm killing. Now I'm shooting threes. I'm comfortable. I don't have to look over my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? I'm going into it confident. And preseason, I was averaging 26 minutes a game. I was averaging like 11 and like 5 assists. So I'm like, all right, this contract year, I got an opportunity right now. Like, for sure I'm good. First game of the season, they played me 10 minutes. So I'm like, so I'm wilding, bro. Like, literally, I'm arguing with this the guy I work out with, because the one thing about the league, bro, you know what you're gonna play. Like, before the game, you know when you coming in, when you going out. Special situation, fourth quarter, or maybe in a game, it might change, but they literally, it's on the sheet. You know exactly what time you check in with. You know what I'm saying? You know. So I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying, whole preseason, 26 minutes, 25 minutes. They start playing D-League players the first game of the season. And this is when the whole tanking stuff, where it's real at, bro. Like, so I get in the game, bro. My first stint, I'm 2 for 3. I'm 1 for 1 from 3. Shoot a pull-up, had 2 assists and 1 turnover. First stint, I'm good. My second stint come up, he called Josh Majette. So I'm like, all right, something ain't right. So second half come around, same thing happened. So I'm in the huddle. I'm like, yo, like, what's going on? My assistant was like, yo, I don't know. Like, you was on the depth chart. Like, you know what I'm saying? This. He was like, I don't know nothing about this. I'm like, bro, I just bust my ass for the whole summer. Like, bro, I stayed here. I didn't work out with my trainers. Like, I paid my trainer a whole bunch of money to train with him the whole summer. My boys ended up working out. I didn't do it, but I'm like, bro, I did everything y'all asked me to do. I'm in great shape, like all this, and then y'all not gonna play me. So I called my agent. I'm like, look, something ain't right, bro. Like, you gonna have to get me out of here. And he was like, you know, y'all got a 5-game road trip to start the season. Just play out the road trip, and if it don't get better, then you know what I'm saying, we'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. So by the end of the road trip, bro, I had met with the coach. I'm like, bro, what's going on? Like, in the summer, y'all told me to do this. Now it seemed like you ain't playing me. And he was like, well, look, I love you on defense. Like, we love what you're doing on defense, but offensively, we have Dennis. Bro, he was averaging like 25 shots a game. He was like, we don't need 2 point guards that's scoring. You know, Dennis is taking the tough shots. We know you're a tough shot maker, but we already have that. So we just need you to focus on getting people around you better. And I'm like, bro, our second unit in Atlanta, my second year, was terrible. Yeah. I'm like, who do you want me to get better around me? Like, I'm the best player. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it shifted, bro. And, you know, I asked for a trade. And I was honestly supposed to go to Houston, but Houston wanted to throw in some other stuff in the deal. And Atlanta eventually turned it down and said they wanted to keep me. But that was just the NBA, bro. Like, that 2 years in Atlanta was a waste. You know, I loved the opportunity and, you know, the stuff it brought me as far as lifestyle and connecting me with some people networking, you know, with that label on. I got into some good business situations, you know what I'm saying? But besides that, bro, like, you can't control what people want to do, especially when it comes to that. Now with tanking and, like, that stuff real, bro.
Yeah, it's out of your hands. Like, it's like you said, like, it's totally different. Like, it's a whole different game, political game, upper management. They thinking long term, and like, you can't even do anything about it.
Yep.
I know you're a fierce competitor and all that, and but I know I want to ask you: did you have one of those like fan moments, like you going up playing against somebody, and you're like, dang, like somebody that you may have looked up to or whatever while you was in the league?
So the dopest moment was playing against Melo. Like, like that was dope, bro, because he was the first like NBA player I trained with before. And when I was a sophomore in college, they brought me down. The first time I ever been to Atlanta, it was me, Draper, Melo, and then one of their other friends. And the city was crazy, bro. It was like that city, our summer was like at war. So it was like everybody was dying, bro. And I came home from college. I'm like, I hit them up. I'm like, yo, I need to get out of Baltimore. Like, at least, like, I had a great sophomore year. I'm like, I need to train, bro. Like, and I want to train with Melo. You know, I feel like I'm about to take that next step. Like, Melo is the guy I look up to. You know, I want to get some work in with him. So they brought me down to Atlanta, and Draper actually showed me a different side of it because Draper didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Draper was like, Melo would go out, Draper would go out on his own. Like, you'll
by himself.
Yeah, like,
by himself.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it gave me both perspectives of everything. And eventually, bro, like, that's kind of where it took off for me and what changed my mental about everything. Being around those guys. And then when I got to play against Melo on the court, it was like, all right, like, you know what I'm saying? I trained against him 8 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really expected me to be here, but sharing the court with, you know, one of my idols was dope. The LeBron, like, of course, Bron, seeing him play, because I never seen him play in person. You know, NBA they don't pay attention in Europe. So just getting that respect from the players, you know, even the ones that's younger than me. I grew up watching you at VTech, or, you know what I'm saying, that I was getting that type of recognition. So it wasn't like I was a rookie when I got in the league. It was like people really felt like I should have been there. So it made me feel more comfortable being there. And it never made me feel like a rookie.
Now talk about, you know, you deciding to, you know, leave the league and going to China. You know, talk about what came into that decision, and then talk about everybody we talked to so far has a China story. So, you know, you got to talk about, you know, the transition of, you know, living in China and, you know, what that kind of went through with you.
So my second year in Atlanta, when I demanded the trade, they wasn't playing. Like, literally, bro, I said I wanted to get traded. They was in talks. The coach came and talked to me. He was like, look, we appreciate everything you do. We love you in the locker room. You good. You can talk to the older guys and the younger guys. People look up to you for advice. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was the guy on the team that everybody could talk to. And everybody respected me because of what I did before I came to the league. So when the second year happened, I twisted my ankle again. And remember I told you I hurt my ankle at VTech. So when I hurt my ankle at VTech, I never got anything done to it. So I played on it for 7 years or 8 years, injured. Like I always told all my trainers, I don't have no flexibility. Like everybody thought I was just joking. I wasn't trying to work out. So my second year in Atlanta, I did the same exact injury. I drove down the lane, stepped on somebody's foot, grade 2 sprain, bone bruise. They said 4 to 6 weeks. And like I literally couldn't walk. So they told me I did enough to prove that I should be in the NBA, like I should shut it down for the season. And once they said that, I'm like, I might as well get surgery. Like it was something I was thinking about for 5, 6 years, but playing in Europe, after the season is over, you can't just get surgery and go past a physical. So I was like, look, I went to the doctor. I'm like, look, I want you to check out my ankle because I haven't been able to move it for 8 years, whatever. He looked at it. He was like, yeah, you got bone spurs and a lot of scar tissue built up. So I was playing for 8 years with bone spurs and scar tissue on my ankle, and I decided to get the surgery. So once I got the surgery, my contract was expiring with Atlanta. So they told me, I could still do my therapy there, but it wasn't the same. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't a priority for them. I was kind of like I was just around. And I felt like it was just a waste of time because I wasn't improving. I decided to leave. I went back to Miami to train at DBC, get some work done on my ankle. And I had a couple opportunities, but it was like camp invites. People was offering like partials. And I felt like I proved myself that second year. I was shooting 38 from 3. You know what I'm saying? Like the stretch after I started playing again, I was playing at 2. I was averaging like 10 or 11. So for me, mentally, it was draining. And coming off that injury, I decided to go to China because, one, they offered me a lot of money, but I knew I would be able to get my swag back. You know what I'm saying? Like I played 2 years where I wasn't scoring like that. I wanted to show and basically prove to myself that I still had it and I could score. You know what I'm saying? So China was the perfect outlet for me to go make the money. I went to a good team. And I was able to, get my swag back. And that was the only reason I really went to China, bro. I just wanted to get my confidence back and just fall back in love with the game. So it was strictly a basketball move for myself.
Like Kyle said, just to piggyback off what Kyle said, you got any stories in China? Any crazy moments that you want to think about?
Well, yeah, man. So I didn't finish the season. But like I will always have like small injuries. But one time, so I hurt my wrist, and we went to a hospital. I was telling them like, my wrist bothering me. They was telling me there's nothing wrong with it, but they would never say like, okay, maybe it's a sprain. They didn't say nothing. They just told me there was nothing wrong with it. So I went to the hospital, and the doctor at the hospital, we always had a translator with us. So the doctor in the hospital told them that I had a fracture. And when he said what he said, our team doctor reacted and like basically ran behind the counter and started like arguing with the dude, like saying that it wasn't a fracture. So he's like, bro, the guy at the hospital is saying my wrist is fractured. Our team doctor is saying no. So our doctor was telling the dude like, yo, you don't even have the qualifications to do this. Like, you can't tell him that his wrist is broke. Like, so they arguing, bro, and I'm sitting there like, hold up. Like, is my shit broke or not? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, I eventually ended up playing, and then the same thing happened again. I got elbowed in my ribs. I had 2 cracked ribs, and I couldn't breathe. Like, I was nauseous. Like, I knew I never had a cracked rib before, but, when you get certain injuries, you know exactly what it is. Yeah. So I knew I had cracked ribs, bro. They told me that literally it was nothing wrong with my ribs. So when I left China, we were 46-4. We were the #1 team. We were like 2 or 3 games ahead. You know, me and Sonny. So you know, in China, usually the Americans averaging 35.
Yeah.
Like our team actually played the right way. So nobody averaged 30. I think I was averaging 26 and 6. Sonny was averaging like 22, 6 and 6, and Yi was averaging like 21 and like 11. And then we had like all our young Chinese players averaging between like 10 and 12. You know what I'm saying? So we had a great roster.
Yeah.
Bro, when they told me they wanted to bring in Marshawn Brooks, they was like, look, we're going to bring in Marshawn. You know what I'm saying? We can have multiple imports, but we're going to rotate who plays. And I felt disrespected because we literally, you know, we had the record. We was going to win, guaranteed we was going to win. Nobody could beat us in a series, but what they wanted to do was sign Marshawn for the following season. And in China, they were scared somebody else would sign him for the playoffs. And when a team signs you, they hold your rights. So regardless of who he signed for, like they were scared that somebody was just going to sign him and they couldn't get him next year. So, you know, they worked out a deal with Marshawn, and then they talked to me, and I was home already. So they was asking what I wanted to do, if I wanted to come back. I was like, you know what I'm saying, for the money, like our bonuses and stuff was crazy. I'm like, I could go there and chill and do that, or I could try to come home and get on a playoff team. You know what I'm saying? And then when I came home, I went to the doctor and they said I had 2 cracked ribs. So I didn't really respect the club after I left anyway. Knowing that I had injuries, they were, you know, trying to talk me into playing with. So we eventually, I agreed to a settlement. They paid me all my money. They ended up signing like Mike Beasley. They were just signing people, bro. And you know how China is, but the Milwaukee came. They were playing Atlanta, and I went and worked out for the Bucks. That was the coaching staff from Atlanta. When I was there, so they was like, "Yo, they want to see if you're in shape. They want to guard. You know, playoffs is coming up." So I went and worked out. I still was in tip-top shape, so I was good. I shot the ball real well, and they was like, "We waiting on Pau Gasol to see if he's going to play or he's going to sit out for the season." He was hurt, and the deadline was coming up for him to decide if he was going to play or not. So he tricked him. He said he was going to play up until the deadline, and then the day after the deadline,
set out.
He was out for the season. So that kind of took, you know what I'm saying, that took my opportunity away. And you know what I'm saying, that was why I did come home from China, because I could have just collected the checks. And they went on to win the championship, but you know, I lost respect for that organization for how they went about it, and Pau Gasol for stealing that roster spot. But it was solid, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got to be home for my 30th birthday. My body needed it, bro. Like I was constantly going for 7 years straight, and I just needed, you know what I'm saying, that last summer, like that was good for me. I was off. I got home in like mid-February, so I was good.
Talk about you know, your decision, you know, after all that, your decision to go back to EuroLeague, you know, like for people that don't know, the past like 3 years, once you got to Atlanta, like it was rumors every summer, like you was going here, you was going there. And then it was like, everybody was pressing you. I even pressed up on you in up in Vegas. It was like, yo, you was like, everybody's like, yo, when you coming back? When you coming back? So, you know, went into your decision to, you know, to decide to go to Barcelona. And then just talk about the situation there, you know, talk about, you know, the team and the years you guys had there.
So after Atlanta, I never wanted to come back to Europe. Like, you know, after my first 5 years, I felt like I just got tired. The seasons was long. It was demanding. Like, I was after I got a taste of like NBA, how, you know, load management and how they treat your body, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got a taste of that. And then going to China was kind of just basketball, and the season was shorter. We had 4 vacations where we could, like, you know what I'm saying, we was getting 2-week vacations, and it was just a whole different style and mentality than Europe. And I was off of Europe, bro. Like you said, I think the summer before I went to China, FS offered me a lot of money. I turned it down. I spoke with Seska. I wasn't really interested. And then last summer, literally, Seska was the only team I was interested in signing with. And, like you said, we talked, but, I was speaking to Coach. I told him, like, yo, I'm not talking to any other team. I'm not ready to make a decision right now, but, you know what I'm saying, I'm not going to hold y'all up if you want to be patient. I'm committed to coming there, you know what I'm saying, if you guys could wait around a little bit. But for me, it was still NBA. Like, last summer was all about NBA for me, knowing that I went to China, proved what I can do. We had some people, looking, asking questions about me. And for me, I didn't even care about the money. It was about, if I get into a training camp, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't have to give me no money, nothing. Just give me opportunity. And I'll prove what I can do. So, New York, the Knicks came down. They wanted to watch me work out. So they watched me work out here. Again, had a good workout. They invited me up to New York to play with the team. Went up to New York 4 days. Clearly killed that. They was like, everybody loved me. They wanted me to come back the following week to play with the team again, but I was like, yo, I'm not pressing for the NBA. Like, if y'all want me to keep coming back, I'm not about to be flying myself to New York, paying for my hotel. Like, y'all at least got to give me, like, some kind of camp invite or something.
Yeah.
So they didn't do it. So I was off it again, and then Golden State called. And this was, like, late August. They was like, we want you to come to the mini camp in Golden State. You know what I'm saying? We'll have a wide open roster. So I thought that would be a great opportunity for me. When I say I destroyed Golden State's workout, like, killed that, talked to them after. I played with Aaron Miles my first year in Locomotive. He's the G League coach in Santa Cruz. So, they was giving me good feedback. They was like, look, everybody love you. You know what I'm saying? This could be a good situation for you, but we bringing in one more free agency group next week. And this was September, so it's like, all right, like, y'all want to keep waiting around on the NBA? They not telling me, you know what I'm saying, you can come to camp, nothing. Or, you know what I'm saying, we looked at Europe, and Barcelona had started blowing me up. I was like, I got a text message from Pessage, like, yo, it's about to be my birthday. My best birthday gift would be to be signed in Barcelona. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had a relationship with Barcelona before Pessage. And people thought that I just signed in Barcelona because of Pessage, but it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody knows what type of coach Pessage is, and we had our differences in Munich. But for me, you know what I'm saying, at 30, I wanted to go try to win a EuroLeague. Like, I didn't care about none of that. I knew they had a team they put together that was, you know what I'm saying, they put a lot of money into that team, and I looked at the roster. I'm like, okay, well, if you add me to this roster, I feel like, we got a good chance to win a EuroLeague. So, me and my agent was talking about it. I really didn't want to leave to go back over, but it was like, all right, they was kind of pressing it. And then I had a lot of business stuff going on as well. So I'm like, do I really want to, you know what I'm saying, jump into these business situations without guaranteed money? Or, you know what I'm saying, if I go to Barcelona, I get to kill two birds with one stone. I can show people that I'm still playing at a high level, maybe get a chance to win a EuroLeague, and I can take care of this business stuff I got going on off the court as well. So, ultimately, that was my decision to go, man. It was like, good city. I thought the club, had big ambitions, and I knew my situation wasn't going to be the same type of situation I had in Loko, because they already had, Thomas, they just re-signed. Nico was going to get the ball. It was a lot of stuff going on. I just wanted to go in and fit in. Yeah. So, for me, I felt like it would be another Atlanta situation, but with more opportunity. And, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't have the pressure to do anything more than I needed to do on a big team like that. So I decided to just come back because of that.
Now, talk about as far as that, like, obviously everybody knows this past week that you decided the departure to leave. So just talk about that and kind of clear up, because some of the rumors and everybody has all the speculation. You've done that personally on Twitter, but just kind of speak on that a little bit more. about what went into that decision, and kind of how it all kind of went about.
The GM been wanting me in Barcelona. The Barcelona fans knew it was interest, and for the last couple of years, like you said, it was always in the summertime. People hit me up. We love to see you here, or whatever. So, like I said, Pepsi's been sending me the messages about they wanted me there, and all of this. It was everything was great at the start. I agreed that I didn't care about starting, but I didn't think that I wouldn't start. Majority of the year. I just thought when I first got there, the best players would play. So
yeah,
when I got there, everything was cool. I understood from the beginning that offense wasn't about me. It was about Nico and Corey. Coach wanted to go through the 2 and the 4. I didn't care. I'm like, all right, well, I can put Corey in good positions. I can make Nico's job easier. So I took on a different challenge. It's like, okay, when they need me to come through in the clutch, I'll shoot more. I'll take over. But I'm just gonna come here and just fit in, make all the pieces come together. I'm gonna be that glue guy that can, I can take over a game, but at the same time, I can balance out Nico and Corey and when other people need to get involved, I'm gonna just take that challenge on myself. So I sacrificed the most out of anybody on that team. Right. I took a deal that I normally wouldn't have taken with the security in the second year. And when I signed that second year option, it was only as insurance. Yeah. If I got hurt, if anything happened, that wasn't a deal. I wouldn't have played on that second year deal anywhere. So that was just in case. They knew, and I said from day one that if I came back to Europe, I want to finish my career where I went. Like, I made this very clear in Barcelona. Like, I love the city. The fans embraced me, like, for sure. Like, they showed me love. And, I felt like it would have been a situation where I retired in Barcelona. And that was my mentality, bro. Like, I wanted to win. I talked to the fans in the city, online. Like, Like, I was the only player who was involved with that organization like it was. So I felt like I had more of a commitment to them than they had to me.
Yeah.
So as the year went on, I wasn't happy with how it was being used, but at the same time, I didn't care because it was bigger than me. Like I said, I came over to win a EuroLeague, but also when we playing in games where I know I should be in the game, or we playing against like efforts, and I'm having the best game. I got 18, 19 in the first half, and then I don't play for 12, 13 minutes straight in the second half, and they come back and beat us. I'm feeling some type of way. And it's like, why don't you want to play me with Nico? Why are me and Corey not playing together? Like, I understand Adam Henga is a good defensive player. Why is he starting at the point guard? Like, he's a 3-man, and we play better together. So it's like, I wasn't comfortable with everything that was going on. But like I said, man, I sacrificed for the team, and I shut up about it. But once all this Corona stuff started happening, me and Coach had already, we had our little differences already. So from late February, literally, bro, like, Coach Pessage was the only person who didn't say happy birthday to me. So, like, it was a lot of things that went on, bro. Like, we just had we had our differences, bro. Like, I think he felt like I was the 24-year-old Malcom in Munich that, like, but in Munich, everything went through me. The offense went through me in Munich. So I didn't mind all the other off the court stuff, because on the court, he trusted in me to run the team. Yeah. And in Barcelona, he really didn't, like, it was kind of like he really didn't trust me to run the team. And he said, like, he kind of said that. So we were kind of like, we were just at odds, bro. And it was a big thing. And then once the Corona situation happened, like I said, from my last 2 games in Barcelona, I played 10 minutes. We played Munich. Me and Coach got into it. He played me 10 minutes, on some personal stuff. So after that game, I went and talked to the GM, and I was like, yo, like, I've been dealing with this all year. I haven't said nothing, but what I'm not going to do is let somebody's personal, personal feelings towards me affect basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I came here for basketball. I don't care about nothing else besides that. If I can't play basketball, then it's going to be an issue. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, that led to my birthday happening. Everybody said happy birthday. I didn't talk to coach. Like, I haven't talked to the coach, like, since late February or whatever. And then after the corona thing, we had a situation where they shut the gym down, and I was still getting therapy because I hurt my hip the last game. So I was going in to get therapy, and they had some kind of misunderstanding with communication with the doctors, and I guess a couple other players said they wouldn't come in for therapy. But I had my time set to go to therapy the next day, and he called me on the phone, like calling me a liar that I didn't want to go to therapy. All this stuff was going on, bro. So I'm like, all right, bro. Like at some point, like enough is enough. Like I'm 31 years old right now. It's some things that I'm not going to tolerate. You know what I'm saying? Like basketball isn't everything for me like it was at 24. I tolerated it at 24 because that's all I had. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to prove my point to, you know what I'm saying, to get to the next step of my career. But at 31, this is why I didn't want to come back to Europe. So as the corona thing went on, like I said, I told y'all about me trying to go home. Mind you, through all this, I don't even think they were talking to coach about it. Like when I went home, I'm not even sure he knew I left because they're scared of pressage, bro. So it was kind of like, you know what I'm saying, a secret. So when I did decide to go home, you know, the club hit me. They said, listen, let's just keep this on the low. Don't tweet about it. Don't post nothing. Like, you can go home, but, you know what I'm saying, just don't do any interviews. I'm like, cool. I was home for a week before anybody knew I was home. Wake up one morning, and that's when that article came out. Oh, Delaney left without permission. He demanded his passport. And I'm like, yo, like, I feel like y'all just threw me under the bus after y'all told me not to, you know what I'm saying, not to say nothing. So I called the media people. I'm like, yo, like, I thought, you know what I'm saying, y'all have more respect for me than to try to throw me under the bus and start this kind of, you know what I'm saying, situation with the media with me. Because now the fans looking at me like, oh, Malcom being selfish. And before I left, bro, I called our captains. I called Antti Tomich and I talked to Pierre Ariola, and I said, yo, like, I don't want to seem selfish. If y'all feel like this is a selfish move, let me know. And I'll, you know what I'm saying, I'll reevaluate. Everybody said, no, we understand. You don't have your family, go home. So this was, everybody said it was cool for me to go home. And once that article came out, I'm like, okay, now this is what we're doing. So I called our media guy. I'm like, yo, and he was like, yo, I apologize. You know, they told me I had to do this interview. Whatever. I said, that's fine, but at least you can warn me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to wake up to my whole Twitter full of, oh, Delaney left, he's selfish, he demanded passport. I'm like, all right. So that already left a bad taste in my mouth. The following week, the team started doing Zoom workouts. So they posted, they were like, we're going to do them 11 o'clock Barcelona time, which was 5 a.m. my time. And I'm like, they know I can't participate in those workouts. So once again, I communicated to our strength and conditioning coach, and I said, yo, can y'all at least move it back like 3 hours? I'll do it at 8 a.m., like to be involved with the team.
Yeah.
He was like, my mistake. I didn't mean to schedule it like that. I didn't think about it. I'll hit you up tomorrow and then tell you what's going on. Hit me the next day and was like, we can't change the time. So they basically excluded me from the team. He was like, okay, we'll do the team workouts, but we're not going to alter it. Mind you, they're quarantined, so nobody has nothing to do.
Yeah.
They couldn't move the workouts from 11 to 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was never, for the last 6 to 7 weeks, I wasn't involved in anything team related.
That's crazy. It's just crazy.
Didn't talk to the coach, didn't talk to the GM. The only person who reached out to me was our doctor and our equipment guy. Like, our staff was dope, bro. And I, you know what I'm saying, that's the one thing I didn't like about me leaving was we had a dope staff, but I didn't talk to anybody for 7 weeks, bro. Like, how you doing? How's your family? Nothing. We didn't talk. So I'm like, okay. So when it came down to them talking about bringing the season back, you know, I started talking to my agent. And before all this happened, they were telling me, we want you here. You know what I'm saying? We were talking about, they never said nothing about the extension, but, you know, my Spanish agent was like, look, I think sooner or later they're going to start talking about it. And from what I was doing and how I was playing and what clearly, you know, this year I had the second best, I was the second best player as far as impact on the team. We're not even going to count Nico, but if you're talking about what they were trying to do on a project standpoint, long term, you knew I wanted to be here.
Makes sense.
We should have at least had a conversation. Like, if we would have even had a conversation, everything would have changed. If we didn't have, they didn't call me one time and say, yo, be patient. You know, we want to talk about the extension. We don't have the budget for you. Nothing. We didn't have any conversations about it. So I'm like, all right, so I'm home. They're not checking on me. We're not talking about extensions. I don't have security. They know I'm going to opt out of my deal coming into. I just had a great EuroLeague year and ACB year. I got other teams that's going to be interested in me. Why would I sit around and wait?
Yeah.
So once they start talking about playing in July, if you look at the tweets, my tweets from almost 2 months ago, I said initially I'm not playing in July.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to happen. Like if I'm under contract with Barcelona or I have extension, that's different. But I'm not risking my body or my health after sitting out for 2.5 months to go play a 2 or 3 week tournament in July without security for next season. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't make no sense. And this is about me. I don't care about, you know, we might have different opinions about stuff. Like somebody else might want to play. I'm not doing it. So, you know, with the team, we were in the group chat when they started talking about the pay cuts and everything. And I felt like people was just, you know, they were saying one thing and then going back to the club saying another. People was leaking stories to the media. Like, our direct conversations from our team group chat with no coaches, no nothing, was in the media.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I'm in there, I'm like, yo, like, this is my thing, bro. I don't care who agree or who disagree with the pay cut. Don't say that you agree in here and then go back and do the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Because you're throwing people under the bus. Wow. And that's eventually what happened with all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It got messy in the media. You know, people arguing in the group chat. Like, it was just too much stuff going on. And I wasn't involved. I'm home. So, you know, I don't feel part of the team, bro, like, at all. Like, there's nothing including me in the team. They working out. Like I said, I haven't talked to coach. And mind you, we've been on separate pages. So it's like, dude, does he even want me back? You know what I'm saying? Like, he told me basically he respects me as a person, but not as a player. Like, he told me this out of his mouth. So what makes you think I would, like, yeah, like, why would I risk my health? And the coach, the last conversation we really had, he basically told me, like, he respects me as a person, but not as a player. You know what I'm saying? So all of that went into account. And then just talking with my agent, it was just like, it wasn't smart, bro. It's like, we're not playing without security for next year. I'm not playing in July and then have to report back in August or get hurt in July and I can't pass a physical in August. And now what? You know what I'm saying? Barcelona's not guaranteeing me nothing. And then once I'm not a player at Barcelona, you think they care about what happens in the next chapter of my career? So this is why I'm so active on social media. I always I share my perspective because I feel like in the NBA, like, players might do it too much, but they drive the league. You know what I'm saying? Like, the player is the most respected thing in the NBA. It don't matter. Like, it doesn't matter, bro. Whatever the players say really goes. And I don't want it to be like that in Europe, but I get tired of, like, teams, like, carrying out narratives about players and Americans and what we want, and Americans only want money, but like, it's just too much. You know what I'm saying? Those stereotypes, they get old. So, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm so active when you know what I'm saying? I don't mind joking around. I'm sarcastic most of the time if I'm bored, but at the same time, I'm not going to let anybody tarnish my name or what I stand for, because anybody who's ever played with me, nobody has ever hated playing with me. Nobody. Like, now in Barcelona, all the doctors, fans, like, everybody on the team, like, they hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a good teammate. So when I feel like I put my all into a situation and I don't get that in return, like, you don't have my loyalty. You know what I'm saying? And it could have been a simple conversation. Like I said, they would have said, yo, we interested. We want to do this. Like, just talking to me, I would have felt more comfortable. But you think I'm supposed to bet on a team that's everybody saying going to cut the budget, this, that. Like, what am I waiting for? If they're not telling me anything, there's nothing else to wait for. So, you know, that's what ultimately, you know, I didn't want to go there and it'd be a toxic situation because I was going to go there and do the rest of the contract. But at June 30th, I was going to be done. So it came down to, do you want me around the team knowing that if you possibly play in July that I'm not playing? Or, you know what I'm saying, knowing how coach is, he's not going to want that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about just me staying home, me wanting to stay home. I was going to go back to Barcelona. But at the same time, it's like, what do y'all want me to practice for if I'm not going to play? And I know how coach's mentality is. If he knows I'm not going to play another game, he feels disrespected about everything. So if I go out there and say I'm not playing, then it's going to be another situation. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to save the drama and just move on to the next chapter. But if they didn't want me there, oh well. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do what I got to do for myself, especially in a situation like this.
Yeah, it made sense. I mean, like we talked about before, it's like, you know, you took your career and took your power into your own hands, and rather than that, them dictating it for you, because it was the other way around, then nobody would even say anything about the team. They'd be like, oh, you know, this, that, and the other.
Nothing.
So
and that's
like,
why, like, I shut up about it, but it's just like, all right, now I need to, and I was telling my agent before, bro, I'm like, look, we need to go in and get ahead of this, because if it happens, the narrative about this is going to be a typical American player, selfish, want more money, blah, blah, blah. Like, it had nothing to do with money. Like, it was about security. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows what I would have took from Barcelona. But I don't even know what they wanted to do because we never even have a conversation.
Thanks.
So it was more security, bro. And like I said, I passed up on – I didn't care about the money. And I told them that. I'm like, look, if I go home, y'all want to find me, or that's fine. Like, I'm doing this for myself. Like, this is for my mental health. Like, it's not about the money. Like, y'all not going to make me stay in Barcelona for a check. Like, I don't need basketball money. You know what I'm saying? Like, a couple years ago, it's a different situation when, like I said, this is the only thing I have going on, but that's not it right now. So nobody's going to dictate what I do with my career but myself. And, you know, as I got older, that's one thing I'm passionate about is, you know what I'm saying, making sure I'm good and my family's good. And once I'm locked into a team, I'm loyal. If I'm not locked into a team or you're not loyal to me, it's not reciprocated, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm all in once I'm there, but when it comes to business and me personally, and, you know what I'm saying, I just think a different way. And that goes back to Derek Brown, bro. We had a situation in Loko where they had money issues. And this was right before we lost to Unix. So they told us that they couldn't pay us. So Derek was like, we was all arguing, bro. And they was like, yo, we need you guys, Derek, we need you to take a deal. They was trying to get him to go other places to save money. And Derek was like, look, bro, I'm tired of y'all acting like we supposed to care about this. He's like, look, when I get married next summer or when I have a kid, how many of y'all going to be at the wedding? He's like, how many of y'all going to, you know what I'm saying, how many of y'all going to talk to me? I'm not signed with Locomotive. How many of y'all talk to the coaches when y'all done playing? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's situations like that people don't understand. So for me, it's like, bro, they love me when I'm here, but these people don't care about me when I'm not here. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to make sure your situation is right before you try to please everybody around you. So I take pride in that, bro, and stay in my own narrative. Don't let nobody change that about me.
You've had an illustrious career. It's still ongoing. You know, there's a lot of kids that want to be in your shoes. You know what I'm saying? A lot of kids that want to become pro. So what advice would you give the young kids growing up about what it takes to become successful, not only in basketball, but become successful in life?
Yeah, for me, it was, like I said, setting big goals, but putting goals in the middle of those big goals, you know what I'm saying? So you can reach certain steps, knowing that, you know, if you get to one step, it's going to get you closer to that end goal. I think people just think about the end result. They look at professional athletes who makes the most money overseas, and they think, oh, I'm going to go overseas and make whatever he makes. But they don't understand our stories, you know what I'm saying? So I take pride in my journey and setting goals for myself that I wouldn't say are easily attainable, but I'm not going to set anything unrealistic. You know what I'm saying? And once I get to whatever goal I set, then I can go above and, set a new goal. But being yourself, you know what I'm saying, as far as not even just in sports, but being a good teammate, and that's with business, in the athletic world, whatever. If you're in school, you know what I'm saying, respecting people, because it's all going to come around. And my prime story for that is my rookie year, I had a meeting with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Wes Wilcox. He told me –
Shout out to Wes.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
Shout out to Wes. He told me, if you go overseas for 2 years, you're going to be an NBA player.
Mm-hmm.
And they also told me I was the best interviewer of that draft process. And fast forward to Atlanta, Wes got the GM job. And as soon as he got the GM job in Atlanta, he called me and said, look, I'm going to make a roster spot for you. And this goes all the way back to our first interview with Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When I was 21. And he eventually brought me into the NBA. So it's just about relationships and not giving people reason to speak bad about you. That's my story right there, bro. Like, because I think when we're younger, people always tell us, like, you never know who's going to be that guy to give you your opportunity or who you talk to or who you leave impressions on. And I left a good impression on Wes. And ultimately, like, I was a guy that he thought about for 5 years. And when he got his first GM job, I was the first guy that, you know what I'm saying, he signed on free agency. So that's a dope story for me, bro.
What is next for Malcom Delaney?
I'll be back in Europe. To be continued. We'll have some, you know what I'm saying, some updates soon. But I'm excited about the next chapter, man. Like, wherever I go, whoever I play with, I think, they're gonna get the best Malcom Delaney. I'll be prepared for next season wherever I'm at.
I appreciate you, bro. I mean, it was great to, sit down and, like, we talked for a long time, but it was great to have this conversation, bro. I think it was much needed. And I think, a lot of people are going to have opportunities to see a different side of you, different perspective than you. Like you said, like, people see it on Twitter and they see different things, but I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand, what goes into your thought process, why you are, who you are. So I appreciate you taking the time, man. Like, this is dope, man. It's definitely dope.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. Anytime.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. Definitely, man.
Salute to what all the stuff you're doing in your community too, man. Giving back and all that. I know we ain't getting a chance to talk about that, but salute to that, man.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Like I said before, man, salute to everything you're doing. Salute to the one thing I respect about you most is, like you said, like, you don't change who you are, bro. Like, you stick on your principles. You got a plan and you follow through with your plan, even you said when you was even younger. So, man, I have big respect, for you, and as a player, but even more as a person. So, just want to let you know that, man. So, but we'll definitely
appreciate y'all having me, man.
Yeah, man. So we'll definitely can stay in contact.
All right, bet, bro.
All right, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah.